Chapter 145, Change of Tide 4, okay. Li Yuan nodded, his mind racing. How would he dare to have any ideas about such a great person? He wasn't tired of living. Just like that, this palace robbery to seize the throne that was supposed to be bloody was quietly completed under Lung Ruoxia's planning. Ruoxia, this is for you. It's the 7th prince you wanted. Mo Inua said as she threw a fainted dumpling over. Lung Ruoxia looked at the 7th prince, who had been tied up into a dumpling and thrown on the ground, with a face full of black lines. The 7th prince, who was loved and doted on, probably never dreamed of such an end, right? But he was already unconscious. Was there a need to tie him up like this? Crown Prince, you're not allowed to bully big sister Mo, otherwise I won't let you off, Lung Ruoxia said threateningly. Although she hadn't known Mo Inua for long, Mo Inua could be considered her only female friend. How would I dare? Li Yuan teased and glanced at his beloved wife with a bitter look. That's good. Okay, we're leaving. With that, Lung Ruoxia motioned for Freak to pick up the 7th prince, and then the two of them disappeared into the pitch-black night. Not far from the palace, Lung Ruoxia and Yi Chen were stopped by someone. Who are you? Lung Ruoxia asked cautiously as she looked at the lanky old man in green cotton clothing blocking their way. This old man was actually a spiritual supremacy. Besides, if she and Freak hadn't decided to walk back, this old man really wouldn't have been able to stop them. Everyone calls me Old Patriarch. The lanky old man sighed softly. His slightly turbid eyes stared straight at Lung Ruoxia with a sharp glow because he was really curious. How could this little girl be so bold? Old Patriarch? The old patriarch of the imperial family? Lung Ruoxia looked at the old man doubtfully. It seemed like this old patriarch of the Eastern Lagoon Empire's imperial family already knew what they did. Otherwise, he wouldn't have approached her. But so what if he found her? The throne still belonged to their Li family. It was just a different person. Little girl, you have good eyesight. However, you're quite gutsy. You actually dared to help the crown prince usurp the throne. The old man said expressionlessly, making it impossible to see his emotions. Thank you for your compliment. I'm just doing what I think is right. It's not worth mentioning, Lung Ruoxia said shamelessly. She didn't feel that there was anything wrong with her helping the crown prince seize the throne. But she was thinking in her heart, you called yourself the old patriarch. I would really be a simpleton if I couldn't guess it. But what does this old man want from me? Revenge for his grandson? Little girl, what do you think I should do with you? The old man asked, seemingly in a dilemma. That's easy. Let us go, and we'll go head home to sleep, Lung Ruoxia said lightly. This old man didn't seem to be here to avenge his grandson because he didn't deliberately release his might. Little girl, the Eastern Lagoon imperial family changed dynasties overnight because of your involvement. Are we going to let this matter rest? The old man saw Lung Ruoxia pretending to be stupid, so he simply said it clearly. This little girl's ability to pretend to be stupid was even better than Lung Qingshan's. One of them was a cunning old fox, and the other was a little fox, and they were both very difficult to deal with. Isn't it normal to change dynasties? Anyway, they are both from your Li family. Is there a difference who sits on the throne? Moreover, don't you think Li Yuan is more suitable for the throne than Li Sun? The throne will be Li Yuan's sooner or later since he's the crown prince. It's just that it's ahead of schedule, Lung Ruoxia said nonchalantly. Of course, she had thought about all the possible consequences very clearly since she dared to make the move. Moreover, she didn't think that the old patriarch of the imperial family would be angry over something like seizing the throne. People in such high positions had experienced things like seizing power. So I have to thank you. The old man rolled his eyes speechlessly. This little girl is really sharp-tongued. There's no need to thank me. It's good enough as long as you don't find trouble with me nor don't blame me for being nosy. Lung Ruoxia said very calmly. This old man really knows how to pretend. He obviously didn't want to bother about this matter, but he still looked for me. Could it be that he wants a spot for the mystic realm? Nosy? Would you meddle in other people's affairs? It's all because Li Sun pissed you off. The old man's forehead dripped with cold sweat. This little girl's skin is really extraordinarily thick. Is there anything else? If not, I'm going home to sleep, Lung Ruoxia reminded. Little girl, Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? The old man was depressed. Why wasn't this little girl afraid of him at all? His descendants were like mice seeing a cat when they saw him. All of them were afraid of him. Not afraid. If you wanted to kill me, you would have done so by now. Would you still say so much nonsense to me? Lung Ruoxue asked in return. She was still confident about this. This old man probably found Li Sun not pleasing to the eye a long time ago. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to appear only after they succeeded. In fact, Lung Ruoxue was right. He was a spiritual supremacy, so the Empress and the others couldn't hide what they did from him. But he didn't stop them, indirectly agreeing to their actions. Little girl, I've lived for so long, but I've never seen someone as confident as you, the old man said with admiration and regret. Alas! Why isn't there someone like Lung Ruoxue among my descendants? I would be able to worry less that way. It's a must to have confidence, Lung Ruoxue said proudly. Old man, if there's nothing else, I'm really going home to sleep, Lung Ruoxue added. In other words, she was tired and didn't want to chat with him anymore. Saigo. The old man shook his head helplessly. He could also tell that this girl didn't want to have anything to do with the imperial family, so he swallowed the words that were about to come out of his mouth. He would say it again when he had the chance in the future. The old man moved to the side to make way. Lung Ruoxue and Freak walked straight over. The old man also chose to ignore Liu, whom Freak was carrying. After returning to the general's mansion, Lung Ruoxue and Freak handed Liu to Fengde, and instructed him to lock Liu up in the dungeon before returning to their rooms to sleep. Chapter 146. Sunane's End. 1. Early the next morning, Lung Ruoxue got up, washed up, left her room, and went straight to the dining room. Mississippi. Everyone greeted Lung Ruoxue as she entered the dining room. Morning. Lung Ruoxue nodded and sat down in her seat. Why is breakfast so sumptuous today? Lung Ruoxue was a little surprised. Can they really eat this much? Miss, these are all made by Big Brother Wang and the others. They are the fruits of their learning these days. And they made them for you to grade their work, Fengde said with a smile. The Big Brother Wang he was talking about was one of those disabled soldiers. During this period of time, their young lady had arranged for them to learn how to cook from the chefs in the mansion. After the restaurant opened in the future, they would naturally be the chefs of the restaurant. They look good. Let me try them. Lung Ruoxue picked up a piece of almond pastry and took a bite. The almond flavor was very rich, crispy, and not very sweet. She then tried the other snack dishes separately. Not bad. Breakfast passed. Lung Ruoxue nodded in satisfaction. She had carefully selected these future chefs, and they were all very talented in cooking. They really didn't disappoint her. Big Brother Wang, did you hear that? Fengde suddenly shouted. Just as Fengde finished speaking, 20 people walked in. The middle-aged man leading the group knelt down in front of Lung Ruoxue, and the people behind him followed suit. Thank you for your kindness, miss, the middle-aged man said gratefully. I said before, don't kneel down casually, Lung Ruoxue reminded. We don't know how to thank miss for your kindness, so please don't decline, the middle-aged man said stubbornly. All right. Just this once. There won't be a next time. Lung Ruoxue understood how they felt, but she hadn't thought of asking them to repay her when she helped them. Fengde, the decor of the restaurant should be almost finished, right? Lung Ruoxue asked after Big Brother Wang, and the others left. Miss, don't worry. It won't affect the grand opening. It will be completed in a week at most, Fengde explained. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She was very confident in Fengde. Fengde, when you're done here, go out and experience the world, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. She had planned this some time ago. But in order to help the soldiers under her grandfather, the training experience of Fengde and the others was temporarily postponed. Okay, Fengde quickly replied. After he was finished here, he would lead a team to do mercenary missions, and try to make the Blazing Flame mercenary group and rank mercenary group. After breakfast, Lung Ruoxue and Feek went to the dungeon. As soon as she entered the dungeon, a pungent stench assaulted her nose. She covered her mouth and nose and looked around. The dungeon was much cleaner than she had imagined. but because it was dark, damp, and windless, the dim dungeon had a moldy smell. The two quickly walked to the cell where 7th Prince Liu was locked. Liu was still tied up into a dumpling and thrown on the ground very casually. Lung Ruoxua looked at the unconscious Liu and hit him with her spiritual power without hesitation. It hurts. Liu slowly woke up from his coma due to the pain. He looked around in confusion. Where am I? Why am I here? His head hurt. Lung Ruoxua, why are you here? When his gaze landed on Lung Ruoxua standing not far away, yesterday's memories flooded into his mind. Yesterday. What did you do? What did you do to me? How dare you? Liu roared hysterically. He found it unbelievable that what happened last night was true. How could he, the dignified 7th Prince, be tied up like a dumpling and locked in this godforsaken place? No, he didn't want to stay here. He wanted to go out. He was the 7th Prince, the talented 7th Prince. He couldn't stay here. Do you still think you are the noble 7th Prince? You are only my prisoner now. Lung Ruoxua smiled disdainfully. This 7th Prince might have good aptitude, but he was really not cut out to be an emperor, because he couldn't discern situations clearly. What did you do to me? What about my mother? She won't allow you to treat me like this, and neither will Imperial Father. They won't let you go, the 7th Prince threatened. They can't even protect themselves, so they don't have the time to care about your life or death. Lung Ruoxua really didn't want to break this child's daydream, but she had no choice. She was an honest person. What do you mean? Could the Crown Prince have also attacked them? No, that's impossible. The Crown Prince isn't so bold. You're lying to me, aren't you? The 7th Prince stared at Lung Ruoxua expectantly, wanting to see the panic on her face when her lie was exposed. Unfortunately, the current emperor of the Eastern Lagoon Empire is Li Yuan, Lung Ruoxua said indifferently. No, you're lying to me. It's not true. He didn't want to believe Lung Ruoxua's words at all. He believed that the Crown Prince would want to get rid of him, but was it possible that the Crown Prince wouldn't even let their Imperial Father go? It's up to you to believe it or not. Lung Ruoxua had always looked down on people who refused to face reality. Let's go. Lung Ruoxua turned to Freak. Okay. Wait. Liu hurriedly called out to stop them just as they were about to leave the cell. What? Is there something else? Lung Ruoxua asked impatiently with a slight frown. I want to know how my mother is, Liu asked after some hesitation. What do you think will happen to her? Lung Ruoxua asked in return. Li Yuan might not kill his father, but he would never let that woman go. After speaking, Lung Ruoxua pulled Freak away and left the cell, leaving Liu in a daze. Swear, are we just going to lock him up like this? Freak asked in puzzlement after exiting the cell. He thought Schwer would teach that annoying fellow a ruthless lesson. Chapter 147. Su Naersen 2. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. He can't run away, so what's the rush? Lung Ruoxua said nonchalantly. That Liu currently didn't have consciousness as a prisoner. Therefore, she planned to imprison him for a few days to grind his will before slowly dealing with him. Okay. By the way, Freak, didn't you drug Li Sun? Why could he still? Lung Ruoxua suddenly asked, her face full of curiosity. Yes, but that medicine has an effective period of at most 10 days, Freak explained with a devious smile. The effective period isn't important. What's important is the effect. 10 days is enough to strike a man's confidence. Oh, I see. But your medicine lasts too short. When I have time, I'll research it to create one that has a permanent effect, Lung Ruoxua said after some thought. Permanent? Who do you intend to give it to? Cold sweat rolled down Freak's forehead. But as long as it wasn't him, it didn't matter who it was. To whoever offends me, Lung Ruoxua said unscrupulously. Have I led Schwer astray? They spoke as they walked and soon arrived at the garden. Big brother Feng. Lung Ruoxua greeted them when she saw them playing chess. Schwer, where did you go? Lung Ruhan couldn't help asking when he saw his sister. The dungeon. Schwer, that kind of place isn't suitable for girls. Lung Ruhan frowned. Okay, I won't go there all the time. Lung Ruoxue nodded obediently. I will only go there occasionally to teach Li Yu a lesson. Swear. What do you plan to do with Li Yu? Lung Ruhan asked curiously. Of course, it'll give him a taste of his own medicine. He has to try all the treatments I received back then. Lung Ruoxue said fiercely. She said that she would avenge the silly Ruoxue. So of course she couldn't go back on her words. Swear, it doesn't matter how you torture him, but Big Brother thinks it's best if you don't kill him, Lung Ruhan suggested. After all, Li Yu was a member of the imperial family, and Lung Ruhan didn't want anyone to make an issue out of it. Even though no one knew that Li Yu had been locked up in the general's mansion for now, it was hard to guarantee that the news wouldn't leak over time. Moreover, this could be considered a scandal of the imperial family. Who knew when the imperial family would use this as an excuse to fall out with them? Big Brother, don't worry. I won't kill him. Lung Ruoxue calmed him. She would kill Su Nair instead if she wanted to kill anyone. Although Li Yu was despicable, he didn't deserve death. That's good. He felt relieved upon hearing his sister say this. Li Yu should be taught a lesson for treating his precious sister like that before. Big Brother, continue playing. I'm going out with Freak, Lung Ruoxue said. Don't come back too late, Lung Ruhan reminded worriedly. Yes, sir. Lung Ruoxue left the general's mansion with Freak. Swear, where are we going? Freak was very curious. Is Swear going on a date with me? I'm so happy. I want to visit the restaurant. Oh, let's go then. He wasn't too satisfied with Swear's answer, but it was still acceptable. After walking for a few streets, Lung Ruoxue and Freak arrived at a not-too-bustling street. The restaurant she was going to open was located at the innermost part of this street. The location wasn't good, but it was very suitable for her. Moreover, she had bought all the shops around the restaurant. She planned to build the restaurant into a one-stop catering company open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, from soup to nuts. She believed that with the help of this restaurant, this street would absolutely become the most bustling in all of Phoenix City in the future. Lung Ruoxue and Freak arrived at the entrance of the restaurant. After renovations, the entire restaurant had become grand, noble, and elegant. When they saw the words, Prosperity Pavilion on the golden signboard, they were about to enter the shop, but someone stopped them. I'm sorry, you two. The restaurant hasn't officially opened yet, an ordinary-looking man in his 30s said very politely after stopping them. Let us take a look first, Lung Ruoxue said. I'm sorry, Mississippi. You should wait until we are officially open for business, the man said patiently. He was not so stunned by Lung Ruoxue's beauty that he lost his bearings. But his heart was racing because he could see that these two stunning people were either rich or noble, and not people he could afford to offend. But it was his duty. If he really let them in, it would be a dereliction of duty. All right, we won't make things difficult for you then, Lung Ruoxue said understandingly and pulled Freak away to leave. Swear, are we leaving just like that? Freak couldn't help asking. Otherwise. Lung Ruoxue raised her eyebrows. Not everyone among the soldiers had seen her before, and she didn't want to reveal her identity. Nothing. Let's go, Freak said after some thought. Hey Freak. Is that Su Nair? Lung Ruoxue looked at the gorgeously dressed woman in the distance with uncertainty. Where? He didn't see anyone. She turned around that corner. Let's follow and take a look, Lung Ruoxue suggested because she was too curious. Su Nair wasn't alone. There was a young man beside her, and he looked familiar. Okay. The two of them walked quickly, caught up with Su Nair and the young man, and followed them into a civilian house. Lung Ruoxue got Rise to cast an invisibility spell on them, and followed them directly into the house. After entering the house, Lung Ruoxue and Freak found chairs to sit down on, while Su Nair and the man directly sat on the bed. Sitting in the chair, Lung Ruoxue carefully examined the young man. This person looked a little like Big Brother Fong. He was more handsome, but his temperament is much worse. Moreover, there was a brutal aura between his brows and two obvious dark circles under his eyes. One look and she could tell that he was someone who overindulged. Nair, my darling little darling, you haven't come to look for Big Brother for a long time. The man pulled Su Nair into his arms impatiently and began to caress her. Chapter 148. Su Nair's N3. Big Brother Qingran, you're so naughty. Don't be so impatient. Let's get down to business first. Su Nair smiled coquettishly and avoided the man's advances while hiding the disgust in her eyes. Qingran? Feng Qingran. No wonder he resembles Big Brother Feng. So he is Big Brother Feng's cousin. But what business does Su Nair have with him? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help thinking. Business isn't as important as us. The man named Feng Qingran said indifferently, and his hands moved even more vigorously. Big Brother Qingran, Nair will be angry if you continue being like this. Su Nair's beautiful face became stern as she pretended to be angry. Okay. Tell me, my dear Nair. Big Brother is listening. Feng Qingran coaxed. Big Brother Qingran, let me finish. You definitely won't regret it. Su Nair smiled triumphantly with a lewd expression on her face. Really? Nair, if your words don't satisfy me, just wait to accept my punishment obediently. Feng Qingran said meaningfully. Big Brother Qingran, you have to believe Nair. When has Nair ever lied to you? Su Nair acted coquettishly with a smile as beautiful as a flower. Nair, tell me quickly. Feng Qingran said anxiously. Big Brother Qingran, Nair knows you like beautiful women, so I want to recommend one to you, Su Nair said mysteriously. Who? Is there anyone more beautiful than Nair? Feng Qingran lied through his teeth. He was the best at coaxing women. Humph. I knew it the moment I heard it. Big Brother Qingran is just coaxing me. Everyone knows that Shui Xinran is more beautiful than me. Su Nair pouted her pink lips in dissatisfaction. Shui Xinran had always been ranked on top of her, and now there was Lung Ruoxue. She was so pissed off. How can Shui Xinran compare to my Nair? Feng Qingran boasted shamelessly, not even batting an eyelid. Shui Xinran was beautiful, but she looked down on him. Big Brother Qingran, you should have heard of Lung Ruoxue, right? Su Nair probed. That simpleton? Of course I've heard of her. I was even scolded by the first elder because of her. Feng Qingran's gaze suddenly became vicious when he heard the name Lung Ruoxue. Humph, I wouldn't have been grounded if it wasn't for her. Big Brother Qingran, do you want revenge? Su Nair asked gently. Of course. He hated Lung Ruoxue and Feng Moran to the core now. Moreover, Feng Moran was his greatest rival, and they belonged to the same group. Big Brother Qingran, you can take revenge as long as you think of a way to make Lung Ruoxue your woman, Su Nair said with a light smile, her eyes full of scheming. Humph, as long as Lung Ruoxue loses her virginity, Yichen won't be able to escape from my palm. I don't want that simpleton, Feng Qingran said disdainfully. She was still a simpleton in his eyes, even if she was already clear-headed. Big Brother Qingran, you're so ill-informed. Lung Ruoxue is now the most popular genius on the Lingfeng continent. Moreover, she's even more beautiful than Shui Xinran. Su Nair explained softly. Really? Feng Qingran was in disbelief. Were they talking about the same person? But he was only released yesterday after being locked up for so long. How could he be so well-informed? Would Nair lie to you about something like this? Lung Ruoxue is now known as the #1 beauty on the Lingfeng continent, and even Shui Xinran has to step aside. Su Nair pouted aggrievedly. My dear Nair, it's not that Big Brother doesn't believe you. You know that I was grounded. Isn't it normal that I don't know about these things since the first elder only cancelled the confinement order on me yesterday? In order to coax the beauty, Feng Qingran didn't care at all about how embarrassing it was to be grounded. Okay, I'll forgive Big Brother Qingran then, Su Nair said understandingly. That's my good Nair. Come, let Big Brother kiss you, Feng Qingran said with lust. Big Brother Qingran, wait. Su Nair dodged, feeling disgusted. Nair, is that Lung Ruoxue really as beautiful as you said? Feng Qingran asked doubtfully as he embraced Su Nair. Of course. Nair has never seen a woman as beautiful as her. Su Nair said with slight jealousy, her beautiful little face fuming with anger. Nair, do you want Lung Ruoxue to become my woman because of the 7th prince? Feng Qingran asked with some jealousy. Seeing the obvious jealousy on her face, he actually believed her words. But he felt a little uncomfortable thinking that Su Nair might be doing this for the 7th prince. Of course not. I have had nothing to do with the 7th prince for quite some time. I only came up with this idea to help Big Brother Qingran take revenge, Su Nair said very sincerely. Humph. Why would I do this for the seventh prince? I'm doing it all for the sake of that heavenly man. Just thinking about how that man would one day belong to her excited her so much that her heart itched like a cat was scratching it. My darling Nair is so considerate of Big Brother. I am so happy. What does Nair want me to do? Feng Qingran asked with a perverted look. He wasn't a fool. How could he have become the young master of the Feng family otherwise? He didn't believe that Su Nair didn't have any motives and only wanted to help him seek revenge. We just need to find a chance to make her become Big Brother Qingran's woman. At that time, it will be impossible for her not to marry you. As long as she becomes your woman. Won't General Lung side with you? With the Lung family, Big Brother Qingran's position as the young master will be even more unshakable, Su Nair analyzed. She had been having this illicit affair with Feng Qingran for so long that he knew this man's ambition very well. Moreover, the Lung family's status was now rising, and the family's momentum was strong. She didn't believe that Feng Qingran wouldn't be moved. Nair is right. But I don't know Lung Ruoxue. If I ask her out, she might not agree. At this point, Feng Qingran felt a little awkward. Nair's proposal was indeed tempting, but there were no conditions for it to be realized. Chapter 149. Su Nair's End 4. Big Brother Qingran, you can hold a banquet in the name of the Feng family, and then ask Feng Moran to invite her, Su Nair suggested. She had already thought of an idea. Nair, you're so smart, Feng Qingran said happily. Given the relationship between Feng Moran and Lung Ruoxue, he didn't believe that she wouldn't give him any face. It's all for Big Brother Qingran. Su Nair acted coquettishly and shyly. My Nair is so considerate of Big Brother. I should reward you well. Then he threw Su Nair onto the bed. Sitting on the chair listening to their conspiracy, Freak was trembling with rage. If Schwer hadn't calmed him down, he would have stepped forward to kill this adulterous couple. How dare they plot against my Schwer? They really don't want their lives anymore. I won't let them off. Lung Ruoxue dragged the angry Freak out of the house and into the yard. Freak, don't be angry. They won't have a good ending. Lung Ruoxue coaxed. In fact, she was also angry, but she had always been relatively calm. Moreover, she had to think of a good way to kill them. Otherwise, wouldn't it be letting them off too lightly? Schwer, wait for me. I'll be back soon. Freak turned around and entered the room. Freak. Could it be that he wants to see some steamy action? Lung Ruoxue guessed randomly. A few minutes later, Freak emerged contentedly. Freak, is the show over so soon? Lung Ruoxue said doubtfully. This Feng Qingran is too useless. He looks tall and strong, but it's just for show. What's over so soon? Freak looked at Lung Ruoxue in confusion. Steamy action. Schwer, I'm a pure child. How can you suspect that I went to see that? There were a few black lines on Freak's forehead, and his little face was slightly red. Why did you go in then? Lung Ruoxue was curious. Didn't he leave me alone because he was afraid I would see it? I added something to liven things up, Freak said very implicitly, his face a little unnatural. Do you want him to? Lung Ruoxue wanted to laugh at the thought that he might do this. It would be a huge blow to any man if he suddenly couldn't perform at the critical moment. No. How could I do that? Freak believed that he was a very kind child, so he wouldn't ruin others' enjoyment. No. What is it then? Lung Ruoxue couldn't think of anything interesting. I gave them something that would make them unable to stop, Freak said mysteriously, his face saying, I'm kind. Could it be? Lung Ruoxue was speechless, and cold sweat dripped down her forehead nonstop. Freak really has abnormal tastes. Tell me, why do you have that thing? Lung Ruoxue suddenly remembered something and grabbed Freak's clothes to interrogate him. Muli gave this to me for protection. Freak betrayed him without hesitation. Do you need this for protection? Lung Ruoxue glared at him. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old kid? I'm not that easy to fool. Yes. Not only can you protect yourself, but you can also punish bad people, Freak said hurriedly. Schwer, you have to trust me. I won't use this thing to do bad things. Freak promised with a very sincere expression on his face. Fine. I'll believe you this once. Let's go back. Lung Ruoxue said in disgust. The sound coming from the room was a little piercing. After Lung Ruoxue and Freak returned to the general's mansion, they went straight to the garden. Fengde and the others were preparing dinner. Miss, you're back just in time. Dinner is about done, Fengde said when he saw Lung Ruoxue. What are we having for dinner tonight? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help asking. It looks like we're going to have hot pot again. Didn't we just have it last night? Hot pot. Big Brother Wang made it for us to try, Fengde explained. Are we going to be guinea pigs again? But it seems like it should be pretty good, Lung Ruoxue thought. When everything was ready, Lung Ruoxue and the others found seats to sit down. But everyone just looked at each other, and no one touched their chopsticks. Why aren't you eating? Lung Ruoxue looked at the big fellows curiously. Miss, please eat first. As your subordinates, we only dare to start eating after you, Lin Yuan said ingratiatingly. But his words obviously attracted several disdainful gazes. It looks good. Everyone, hurry up and eat. Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Do these guys really think that I wouldn't know that they obviously want me to be the first guinea pig? But what they didn't know was that seasoning was more important than hot pot. Seeing Lung Ruoxue and Freak eating nonstop, Fengde and the others swallowed their saliva and started eating as well. To be honest, it was not that they didn't want to give Big Brother Wang and the others face, but they had just learned how to make hot pot yesterday. If you're worried, you can just swish it, Lung Ruoxue kindly reminded. Hee, if Miss isn't worried, what are we worried about? Fengde said awkwardly. Then eat quickly. Eat more, Lung Ruoxue said with concern. Just like that, everyone ate the most from the spicy hot pot in order to show their guts. In the end, the next day, everyone except Lung Ruoxue, Yi Chun, Lung Ruhan, and Feng Moran had stomachaches. Miss, why did nothing happen to you? Fengde said aggrievedly with a crying face as he dragged his weak body in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. He had had diarrhea for the past 3 days. We have good character. Lung Ruoxue smiled sweetly. Diarrhea for 3 days only is already showing mercy. Yes, it's character. Freak approved of Schwetter's words. Big Brother Feng, please continue. Lung Ruoxue turned to Feng Moran. Okay. Schwer, Su Nair and Feng Qingran died. They died together. Feng Moran told Schwer and the others the news he had heard with a slightly unnatural expression. Chapter 150. Su Nair's End 5. Lung Ruoxue and Freak exchanged glances, but neither of them spoke. How did they die? Fengde asked curiously. How could these two die together? A overindulgence, Feng Moran said uncomfortably. Haha, I knew that Su Nair wasn't a good person. But isn't it a little too easy for her to die like this? Fengde said with a laugh. He had never had a good impression of Su Nair. Moreover, that woman was their young lattice enemy, so hearing the news of that woman's death only made him feel less resentful. Big Brother Feng. How did the Feng family react? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. The two big families would never allow such a scandal to spread. The Feng family sealed the news immediately after finding out about this. However, it still spread. Probably at least half of the people on the entire Lingfeng continent know about it now, Feng Moran said helplessly. Good things didn't come out the door, while bad things spread far and wide. This scandal spread faster than they had imagined, practically at the speed of light. This is the celebrity effect, Lung Ruoxue exclaimed. Schwer, the Feng family will hold a funeral for Feng Qingran 3 days later, Feng Moran continued. The first elder even asked him to invite Schwer, but he really couldn't bring himself to ask. After something like this happened, they still want to hold a funeral? Lung Ruoxue said in disbelief. It's enough to bury him quietly. Why do they still need to hold a funeral? Don't they find it embarrassing enough? Schwer, you don't understand. It's precisely because of this that they have to make it a big deal. After all, one of them is the young master of the Feng family, and the other is the most favored young lady of the Su family. The Su family and the Feng family can use the two of them being in love to cover up this scandal. If they quietly settle the two of them, it will really be an affair and more people will laugh at them, Lung Ruhan explained. Oh, People in this world really have different ideas. In fact, Lung Ruoxue thought that it would be better to deal with this matter quietly. After all, no scandal could withstand the test of time. After a long time, no one would care about such things. But for people like the Feng family and the Su family who were so ostentatious, no one could forget them even if they wanted to. Swear, the first elder invited you to the funeral 3 days later, Feng Moran said after some hesitation. Oh, don't worry, big brother Feng. I will go, Lung Ruoxue answered quickly. She would think of a way to go even if he didn't invite her. It would be a waste not to watch the excitement. Moreover, there should be many influential families attending, so it was time for her to go and recognize people. But Feng Moran was a little worried. Big brother Feng, don't worry. I won't bully them, Lung Ruoxue teased. Swear, I'm not worried that you will bully them. I'm just afraid that they will pester you, Feng Moran explained. I'll be there. Don't worry, Freak promised. With me around, I'll kill whoever dares to pester Swear without mercy. And drug them too. 3 days later, Lung Ruoxue, Yi Chun, Fengda, and Lin Yuan came to the Feng family's main residence to attend the funeral. In a corner outside the Feng family residence, there are so many people. Looking at the people entering and exiting, Lin Yuan was surprised. How many people did the Feng family invite? They were indeed worthy of being a top aristocratic family. They aren't just guests from the Feng family. There are also guests from the Su family, Lung Ruoxue explained. In order to confirm that the two of them were absolutely in love, they organized their funerals together. Of course, they were also buried together. However, who knew how many people would believe their deceitful method? Miss, when should we go in? Fengda was a little puzzled. Why isn't Miss going in? What's there to see here? What's the hurry? It's not time yet. Lung Ruoxue glared at Fengda with displeasure. Oh, Miss is so fierce. Let's go in, Lung Ruoxue said after looking around, and seeing that almost everyone had arrived. With the invitation card, Lung Ruoxue and the others were respectfully led into the inner hall by the servants. They found a random seat and sat down. Are you Lung Ruoxue? An extremely unfriendly voice sounded in Lung Ruoxue's and the others' ears. After hearing this voice, Lung Ruoxue raised her eyes slightly and saw a young woman standing in front of her. This woman was dressed in bright red, had a face as beautiful as a peach blossom, a sexy body and a proud temperament. She was staring at her with some ill intent. Upon seeing this situation, Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. Who is this woman? Did I get shot while lying down? Don't tell me I have a face that invites trouble? Lung Ruoxue, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf? The woman shouted in displeasure. The woman's arrogant scream immediately attracted the attention of everyone in the inner hall. Everyone looked at them in bewilderment. So that's Lung Ruoxue? She's even more beautiful than the rumors say. Someone whispered to the person beside him, stunned. Yes. I just don't know what this princess of the Yi family wants to do. How can Lung Ruoxue be easy to push around? The person beside him answered softly. The crowd gossiped among themselves in whispers, but most of them wanted to watch a good show. Go and ask your elder sister to come back. Lung Ruoxue isn't someone she can offend. Huqing whispered to Yi Xiao in a corner of the inner hall. She has always been capricious. It's not something I can manage, Yi Xiao said a little lamely. He didn't want to meddle in Yi Mei's affairs. Seeing Yi Xiao couldn't even be bothered with Yi Mei, Huqing didn't care about it as an outsider. Anyway, Yi Mei's life and death had nothing to do with him. So you are talking to me? Do I know you? Lung Ruoxue slowly raised her head after a while. She could hear the discussions of the crowd, but she didn't expect this woman to be from the Yi family. I am Yi Mei, the princess of the Yi family, Yi Mei said proudly. What does it have to do with me who you are to the Yi family? Lung Ruoxue looked at Yi Mei in confusion. What a narcissistic woman. Chapter 151. The First Elder's Condition 1. You are the future daughter-in-law of a side branch of the Yi family. How dare you be rude to the eldest young lady of the Yi family's main branch? You really can't differentiate between who's higher and who's lower. Yi Mei roared with displeasure. She very self-righteously believed that her status was incomparably noble in front of Lung Ruoxue. Am the future daughter-in-law of the Yi family? Lung Ruoxue looked at Freak with a puzzled face. No, the Yi family has nothing to do with me, Freak said indifferently without even blinking. You. How dare you, the lowly son of a concubine, look down on the family? Yi Mei's anger rose, and she screamed without thinking. But her words instantly offended many people present. What's wrong with being the child of a concubine? Could it be that Miss Yi really thinks that you're the biological daughter, just because you were raised by the main wife? Lung Ruoxue said mockingly. You. Yi Mei was trembling with anger. She would never have imagined that she would be humiliated instead of humiliating Lung Ruoxue. Moreover, she couldn't figure out how Lung Ruoxue knew that her background, which she had been hiding, had always been a thorn in her heart. Miss Yi, before you want to cause trouble for others, you should weigh your own strength first. Otherwise, you will only be inviting humiliation. Lung Ruoxue said with some annoyance as her cold gaze gently swept across the crowd. She really had enough of these women. You. Yi Mei was so angry that she stammered speechlessly and her chest kept heaving up and down. The first elder of the Feng family is here, someone shouted. Everyone's eyes immediately turned to the main seat, and no one cared about the fighting between women anymore. Hee, thank you all for taking time out to send off a pair of lovers from our Feng family and Su family. I am the first elder of the Feng family, and I am standing in for the acting patriarch, because he is in too much grief over the loss of his beloved son. Therefore, I am fully responsible for today's funeral. The first elder of the Feng family walked to the front of the main seat, and said a few polite words. Then his narrow eyes looked around the inner hall, with a restrained gaze. After his gaze met Lung Ruoxue's, it flashed slightly, and he nodded gently. When his gaze turned to Yi Mei, who was in a bright red dress, it turned dark and unclear. Brother Yi, why did your daughter come here in red? Hua Yi, sitting beside Yi Ming, gloated. Even though the Feng and Su families were treating the funeral as a happy event, coming here in red clothes was not giving face to the host at all. Wasn't this an obvious insult to the host? He saw the first elder's expression change just now. Didn't they say that this is a happy occasion? Since it's a happy occasion, of course you have to dress brightly, Yi Ming said nonchalantly. It was already very polite of the Yi family to be willing to come. Who dared to say any irresponsible remarks? Brother Yi is wise. Hua Yi obediently closed his mouth and stopped talking. After a series of formalities, it was time for the burial. Feng Qingran and Su Nair would be buried together in the Feng family's graveyard. However, such an incident wouldn't give them a good position, so their burial location was rather remote. Miss, is it over? Fengda, standing at the back of the crowd, couldn't help asking. I don't know. This was Lung Ruoxue's first time attending a funeral in this other world, so how could she understand these things? It's not over yet. Hua Qing walked over. What else? Lung Ruoxue asked lightly. The banquet is the most important thing, Hua Qing explained. The funeral was just for show since they weren't important people anyway. But the banquet was different. It was the best time for families to socialize and form connections with each other. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Hopefully something interesting will happen. She only came because she wanted the world to be in chaos after all. Ruoxue, why did you leave the Heavenly Phoenix Academy? Hua Qing complained with a face full of disappointment. What does this have to do with you? Freak retorted coldly. Don't even think about having any ideas about my schwer. I'm asking Ruoxue, not you, Hua Qing said good-naturedly. He knew that Yichen didn't like him. In fact, he didn't like Yichen either. Schwer, Freak at schwer aggrievedly, his eyes looking as though they would rain at any moment. I didn't have much more to learn at the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, so I left. But am still considered a student of the academy. Lung Ruoxue explained while also rolling her eyes at Freak. This damn Freak is threatening me again. Then can I still look for you to spar? Hua Qing said it with certainty even though it was a question. It's best not to. You will only cause me trouble. Lung Ruoxue refused directly without giving him any face. She even looked at Yi Mei meaningfully. She hated trouble and rejected the source of all trouble. Don't worry. I'll handle it. Huqing said with a wry smile. That's your business, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. Elder sister Yi, am I right? Not far away. Shui Xinran looked at the two happily chatting, and said to Yi Mei beside her with raging jealousy. What's so good about Leng Ruoxue? Why does big brother Huqing like her? Yi Mei said indignantly. Leng Ruoxue had just revealed her background, so she hated her to the core. That vixen is the best at seducing men, Shui Xinran said with disdain. Ever since she accidentally heard that the Hua family once proposed marriage to the Leng family, she had been unable to remain calm. The current Leng Ruoxue had already become a thorn in her flesh. Poor Leng Ruoxue. She didn't know that she was being treated as an imaginary enemy. If she knew, she would definitely run away from the big trouble, Huqing, preferably as far away as possible. Everyone, please come with this old man to the main hall for a meal, the Feng family's first elder said with a face full of gratitude after the burial. Leng Ruoxue followed everyone to the main hall. They found their seats and sat down. After sitting down, Leng Ruoxue realized that the Feng family had actually arranged their seats with the members of the 5 great families and the imperial families. There were 10 people sitting at the table. In addition to the 4 of them, there was Feng Moran, Huqing, Shui Xinran, Yi Xiao, and Yi Mei. Leng Ruoxue didn't recognize the other person. Chapter 152. The First Elder's Condition 2. Big Brother Feng, why did you arrange for us to sit at the same table? Leng Ruoxue asked Feng Moran softly. Big Brother Feng should know that I don't like getting involved with these people, right? This was the First Elder's idea. He said that we young people should interact more, Feng Moran said helplessly. In fact, his eldest uncle had already been controlled by the First Elder. Now everything in the entire Feng family was under the First Elder's control except for his grandfather, who was in seclusion. Different paths lead to different plans, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. They were not on the same channel, so there was no way to communicate. Schwer, the dishes are actually all your favorite, Freak said from Leng Ruoxue's other side as he watched the dishes being served one after another. Oh. Leng Ruoxue nodded and looked at Feng Moran. Is the Feng family's first elder showing me goodwill? Everyone, thank you for gracing us with your presence today. This old man would like to propose a toast to everyone. The Feng family's first elder drained his cup in a forthright manner. First elder is too polite, someone said. Yes. While everyone was eating, Leng Ruoxue, who was sitting at the neighboring table, quietly sized up the first elder of the Feng family. This first elder had good facial features, looked kind, and was slightly chubby. He was not tall, but the shrewdness in his eyes couldn't be concealed. Moreover, this first elder was a spiritual supremacy. She had long heard that the first elder of the Feng family didn't care about anything. But for some reason, after Big Brother Feng returned to the Feng family, the first elder, who had always been inactive, suddenly became aggressive. First, he grounded the young master of the Feng family, and then he seized the power of the acting patriarch. No one knew what the first elder's motive was, but they heard that the first elder treated Big Brother Feng quite well. Miss Leng, are you not satisfied with the food today? The Feng family's first elder walked over after sensing Leng Ruoxue's scrutinizing gaze. Of course not. I'm very satisfied. Leng Ruoxue was instead displeased with the people at her table. But Miss Leng didn't even eat, the first elder said very honestly, and his eyes flashed. This is a cunning little fox. Hee hee, I almost forgot to eat after seeing first elder's heroic appearance. Leng Ruoxue said nonsense without the slightest embarrassment. Miss Leng is really good with words, the first elder said with a smile, and his already small eyes narrowed even more. Thank you for the compliment, first elder. Miss Leng, please enjoy. I won't disturb you any further. Then the first elder returned to his seat. Leng Ruoxue looked at the table full of dishes. She picked up her chopsticks and was just about to take a piece of fish when it was snatched away. When she wanted to take another piece, it was snatched away again. What do you mean by this? Leng Ruoxue questioned directly with a cold face, feeling very displeased. I don't mean anything. I just want to eat. Yi Mei looked at Leng Ruoxue cockily. Schwer, I'll get you a piece. Let's not bicker with a pig. Freak quickly coaxed her and placed a piece of meat on her plate. That's right. There's no need to make a fuss with a pig. We have to let the pig eat more to fatten it up for the kill, Lung Ruoxua said mockingly. Ha 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 ha. Her words made Fengde laugh uncontrollably. After hearing what Lung Ruoxua said, the others held back their laughter for the sake of the Yi family's face, but their trembling shoulders betrayed them. Damn it. Who are you calling a pig? Yi Meihuo roared. Was Lung Ruoxua looking for trouble? Don't you know? Is there a need to ask? Lung Ruoxua asked in return as she looked at the plate full of food in front of Yi Mei. Miss Lung, isn't it too much to call a girl a pig? Yi Ming, who was sitting at the neighboring table, said with some displeasure. Father, Lung Ruoxua is finding trouble with me. You have to uphold justice for your daughter. Yi Mei became full of confidence when she saw her father backing her up. Is this a classic case of the guilty suing the other party first? There are so many pairs of eyes watching. Everyone knows who the one finding trouble is. There's no need to argue, Lung Ruoxua said calmly, not paying attention to this father and daughter's acting at all. Despicable people doing bad things was not worth mentioning. Lung Ruoxua, do you mean I've wronged you? Yi Mei said aggrievedly. Miss Yi, I don't mean anything. But you can continue if you're not afraid of embarrassment. I won't entertain you. Lung Ruoxua said coldly with disdain in her eyes. Let's go back. Lung Ruoxua stood up, glanced at the first elder, and then turned to leave. She came to see a joke, not to be treated as one. Okay. Freak and the other two quickly stood up and left with Lung Ruoxua. Schwer, wait for me. Feng Moran chased after her. Schwer, I'm so sorry. Feng Moran caught up with Lung Ruoxua and the others at the door. His face was full of guilt. I shouldn't have gotten Schwer to come. Big brother Feng, what are you saying? This isn't your fault. The Yi family wants to find trouble with me, Lung Ruoxua comforted. I'll go back with you. Feng Moran looked at Lung Ruoxua. Big brother Feng, you are the host, Lung Ruoxua reminded. How could the host be as casual as a guest? It doesn't matter. I don't care. Big brother Feng Qingran is dead, and you might become the Feng family's young master, Lung Ruoxua said with realization. In her opinion, the first elder's actions had already explained his intentions. Schwer, I'm not interested in becoming the young master of the Feng family. I swore to follow you forever, Feng Moran explained anxiously. Big brother Feng, I understand. But I really don't mind you becoming the Feng family's young master. Lung Ruoxua expressed her thoughts. But I really don't want to be the young master, Feng Moran said with a slight headache. In fact, he vaguely knew what the first elder was thinking, but he had been pretending to be stupid. Big brother Feng, think about it carefully. Well, go back first, Lung Ruoxua advised, not wanting him to regret it in the future. Okay, you go back first. I'll be back tomorrow, Feng Moran said quickly. Aoran, neither the first elder nor our parents will agree if both of us go, Feng Moran said helplessly. He could already imagine his parents' angry faces. I believe Big Brother will think of a way to convince the first elder, Feng Aoran said cunningly with a fox-like smile on his face. Hee, I know that Big Brother agrees since he is willing to say this. Aoran, let's make a deal. If I can't convince the first elder, you have to stay in the Feng family obediently. Feng Moran said the ugly words in advance to prevent his brother from crying and making a fuss later. Yes. Feng Aoran nodded obediently. But he wouldn't stay at home and become a puppet. At worst, he would run away from home. After the guests gradually dispersed, Feng Moran went directly to the first elder. In the first elder's room. Moran, why are you looking for me? The first elder asked even though he knew the answer. First elder, thank you for your love, but I really can't be the young master of the Feng family, Feng Moran said directly. Feng Qingran was dead, but the selection of the young master of the Feng family wouldn't be delayed. Not only that, but it had to be decided in the shortest time possible to reduce the impact of Feng Qingran's death. Do you know what you are saying? The first elder asked expressionlessly, but the displeasure in his voice was obvious. I know. I hope first elder will agree. Feng Moran was still very respectful to the first elder. Do you know how many people are eyeing this position? I know, but I'm really not suitable. Feng Moran lowered his stance. If you're not suitable, then no one is. The first elder snorted and glared at Feng Moran. A spiritual sovereign with a divine beast actually said that he wasn't qualified to be the young master of the family. Who was qualified then? A divine beast? Even he didn't have one. First elder, the family is full of talents. There will be someone more suitable than me. Feng Moran said very modestly. Fine. I will let you go as long as you can find me a spiritual sovereign with a divine beast. The first elder deliberately made things difficult. First elder. Feng Moran was speechless. Does first elder have to make things so difficult for me? Even if he could find someone with aptitude comparable to Huqing, divine beasts were not cabbages. Where could he find a divine beast? I only have this one condition. The first elder narrowed his eyes, not looking at Feng Moran, making it clear that there was no room for negotiation. First elder, please rest. Feng Moran smiled bitterly as he exited the first elder's room, his face full of helplessness. After returning to his room, he saw Feng Aoran waiting for him. Big brother, how was it? Feng Aoran hurriedly asked. I failed. Feng Moran shook his head helplessly. What did the first elder say? Feng Aoran couldn't help asking. The first elder, Feng Moran told his brother the condition that the first elder proposed. This condition is really too harsh. How is that possible? Feng Aoran cried out speechlessly. This was clearly forcing him. It was too much. Big brother, what should we do now? Feng Aoran's pitch-black eyes stared at Feng Moran. He didn't have any good ideas. He was counting on his brother. Let's take it one step at a time. Feng Moran didn't have any ideas now. Big brother, actually, I think you can look for Wuxia. She might have a way, Feng Aoran suggested. Chapter 154. The first elder's condition for, I don't want her to know about this. Feng Moran said lightly. He owed Shuer enough. He really didn't have the face to make her worry about his own affairs. Okay. While the two brothers were discussing, someone suddenly knocked on the door. Feng Moran gave his brother a look, and Feng Aoran went to open the door. Dad, Mom, why are you here? Feng Aoran pretended to be stupid. Aoer, we're here to look for Moer, Suchi, their mother, said. Oh, big brother is preparing to sleep. Dad, Mom, let's not disturb him, Feng Aoran said to his parents very understandingly. Move aside. We have something important to tell your brother, Feng Rue said with a displeased face. Aoran, let father and mother in. Feng Moran shouted from the inner room. He heard what the three of them said. Oh, Dad, Mom, please come in. Stinky brat, what the hell are you doing? You actually don't want to be the young master of the Feng family? Feng Rue walked into the inner room angrily, and immediately scolded Feng Moran fiercely. I'm not interested in becoming the young master of the Feng family. Leave this position to those who want it. Feng Moran said without a care. In fact, he had expected his parents' reaction. Do you know what you're saying? I think you must be exhausted. Don't go out for the time being and just stay at home. When you stop talking nonsense, I'll let you out, Feng Rue said domineeringly. I know what I'm saying. It's just that you don't want to admit it, Feng Moran said nonchalantly. This was the so-called familial affection among top families. Everything was for benefits. A son was a good son when he had value. When he couldn't satisfy their requests, he would become an abandoned son. Fortunately, he had long been indifferent to this kind of familial affection. During his stay in the Feng family, his parents always said that they wanted to compensate him and care for him. But he knew very well that his parents were using him for their own benefits. He had already become his father's biggest bargaining chip in becoming the patriarch. He knew that as long as he became the young master of the Feng family, the first elder would support his father in becoming the patriarch. But because he refused, his father's position as the patriarch was very likely to be lost. Otherwise, his father wouldn't be so angry. Presumably, the first elder had already communicated with his father. You unfilial son, I raised you for nothing. Feng Rue roared as his face turned purple with anger. He really couldn't understand why, But the first elder just happened to favor his son for the position of the young master out of the many who were eyeing it. Yet this unfilial son of his was actually unwilling to do such a good thing. It really pissed him off. "Father, you've raised me for more than a decade, and I've also left home for more than a decade. But during the time that I was back, you've gained a lot from using me, so I don't owe you anything anymore," Feng Moran said helplessly. He really didn't want to say such heartless words if possible, but, why you? Fine. Your wings have hardened, and I can't control you anymore, right? Feng Rue pointed at Feng Moran, and the veins on his face bulged as he panted heavily. "Moer, how can you talk to your father like that? Look at how angry you made him. Hurry up and apologize to your father," Su Qi said with displeasure. In fact, she used to dote on this eldest son of hers, but she had stopped paying attention to him ever since his poor result in the aptitude test. However, never in her wildest dreams did she expect that her eldest son, whom she had neglected, would return to the Feng family after leaving home for more than a decade. Moreover, he became so talented and even had a divine beast. The couple couldn't help but see hope due to this. Furthermore, the first elder had promised them that as long as Feng Moran became the young master of the Feng family, the next patriarch of the Feng family would definitely be Feng Rue. They knew their eldest son's feelings for them, and the Feng family had faded after being ignored for so long, so they had been thinking of ways to make up for it. But Feng Qingren's sudden death made the matter more urgent. Their original plan to cultivate feelings anew was disrupted, and Feng Moran said that he didn't want to be the young master, making the couple panic. They had suggested to the first elder that they should act first before announcing the matter. This way, Feng Moran would have no choice but to do it. But the first elder was very opposed to this idea. The first elder wanted Feng Moran to do it willingly, because he felt that Feng Moran would only seriously consider the interests of the Feng family if he acknowledged his identity. "Father, I'm sorry. I won't be the young master of the Feng family," Feng Moran reiterated. He never hoped that his parents could understand him, but he also didn't want to be a pawn in their hands. "You, husband, don't be angry. Let's go back first. Let Moer consider it carefully. Perhaps he will think it through himself." Su Qi patted Feng Rui's back gently to persuade him. "All right, unfilial son, reconsider it yourself." Feng Rue roared and left Feng Moran's room angrily with Su Qi's help. "Big brother." Feng Aoran looked at his brother worriedly. Alas, he didn't expect his parents to react so strongly. He was a little scared just now. "I'm fine, Aoran. Go back to your room and sleep," Feng Moran said, not wanting his brother to worry. "Okay, big brother, rest early too." Feng Aoran closed the door for Feng Moran and left the room. In the main hall of General Lung's mansion, "Miss, as you expected, the Su family really took Su Nair's corpse away." Feng De looked at Lung Ruoxua with admiration. This was the report he obtained from the team he sent to monitor the Feng family. Isn't that normal? No one from the Su family showed up at the funeral. They were just embarrassed. The Su family has always been proud of their daughter. Now that this has happened, it's really hard to say if anyone will dare to marry their daughters in the future, Lung Ruoxua analyzed. She despised people who sold their daughters for benefits the most, and the Su family was just such a family. Chapter 155. The First Elder's Condition 5. "Miss, you are very proper," Feng De said flatteringly. "All right, it's getting late. Go to bed." Lung Ruoxua said to everyone when she saw that the news she wanted to know had been confirmed. She then turned around and returned to her room. The next day, Freak woke Lung Ruoxua up before she could get out of bed. "Damn Freak, if there's nothing important, I will make you regret waking me up." Lung Ruoxua looked at the aggrieved Freak standing outside the door, and threatened with gusto. "Schwer, how can you shout at me? Boo. Schwer is so fierce. No wonder no one else dared to come. What is it? Tell me quickly. I still want to sleep." Lung Ruoxua said unhappily. She hated being woken up when she was sleeping soundly, even more so than being disturbed while eating. "Feng Moran's parents want to see you," Freak said pitifully. "See me? Why?" "I don't know. They just said they have something very important to talk to you about, he explained. When he saw the pair of shifty-eyed parents, he knew that nothing good was going to happen. Ask them to wait for me in the living room. I'll be right there, Lung Ruoxua ordered. She had to give them some face since they were Big Brother Feng's parents. Yes, my queen. Freak received the queen's order and turned to leave reluctantly. After Lung Ruoxua washed up, she slowly walked to the living room. Lung Ruoxua saw a middle-aged couple sitting and chatting with Freak as she entered the living room. But he looked indifferent and seemed uninterested. Swear you're here. Freak's sharp eyes saw Lung Ruoxua, and he was excited. This couple was too difficult to deal with. They were clearly here to gather intelligence and asked him many questions, and some he didn't know how to answer. Lung Ruoxua looked at Freak's aggrieved appearance and was a little speechless. What happened to him? It's like someone bullied him. Does he have to be so exaggerated? Are you Big Brother Feng's parents? Lung Ruoxua walked to the middle-aged couple. Yes, you are Lung Ruoxua? Suchi looked at Lung Ruoxua in amazement. She had long heard of Lung Ruoxua's great name, but she didn't expect her to be so beautiful in person. Moreover, she had done her son a favor. What if she couldn't help thinking after seeing Lung Ruoxua? I am Lung Ruoxua. Lung Ruoxua looked at the middle-aged couple in front of her. The couple was about 40 years old. The man was handsome and had a tall stature, looking very similar to Big Brother Feng. As for the woman, she had a beautiful appearance and a noble temperament and looked very young. As for their strength, one was a spiritual sovereign, and the other was a spiritual monarch. The cold and serious Feng Rue merely nodded at Lung Ruoxua, while Su Qi was relatively enthusiastic. Ruoxua, since you address Moer as Big Brother, can you address us as Uncle and Auntie? Su Qi held Lung Ruoxua's hand warmly. Uncle Auntie hello. Ruoxua was rude. Lung Ruoxua said politely. Alas, they are Big Brother Feng's parents. I just don't know why they're looking for me. Hee, it's okay. We won't mind. After all, this is the first time we're meeting. Su Qi said understandingly. Uncle Auntie, may I know why you're looking for Ruoxua today? Lung Ruoxua asked directly. Something did happen. Su Qi said, slightly embarrassed. Auntie, just tell me directly. Lung Ruoxua didn't want to beat around the bush and waste time. Since they were Big Brother Feng's parents, she would still help as long as their requests were not too unreasonable. Ruoxua, it's like this. You know that Qingran just passed away, but the position of the young master of the Feng family can't remain empty. So what the first elder wants is for Moran to become the young master. Su Qi explained simply. That's a good thing. Lung Ruoxua echoed. Of course it's a good thing. It's a good thing that many people can't ask for, but that foolish child isn't willing. Tell me, is there anyone as foolish as him? Su Qi complained to Lung Ruoxua. Big Brother Feng isn't willing? Yes, he doesn't want to, so we would like to ask you to help and persuade him. He's indebted to you, so perhaps he will listen to you, Su Qi suggested. This was something the couple had discussed all night. Auntie, it's not that I don't want to help. It's just that I've never liked to impose on others. If Big Brother Feng doesn't agree to it himself, I won't force him. Moreover, I don't have the right, Lung Ruoxua explained nicely. Ruoxua, we just want you to help us persuade him, not force him. You don't know how stubborn this child is. He can't fulfill the condition the first elder proposed, Su Qi said helplessly. What did the first elder propose? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. The first elder said he won't force Moer as long as he can find a spiritual sovereign with a divine beast among the younger generation of the Feng family. Su Qi said with a bitter and beautiful face full of worry. This condition is indeed very demanding. Lung Ruoxua nodded in agreement. However, it wasn't difficult for her, but, of course, even if you have outstanding aptitude, where can you get a divine beast? Even the first elder doesn't have a divine beast. Moer's divine beast was the only one in the Feng family. Therefore, Moer was very important to both the Feng family and the couple. Auntie, then I'll go with you to persuade Big Brother Feng, Lung Ruoxua said after some thought. She couldn't leave Big Brother Feng alone. Okay. Su Qi immediately beamed with joy. She was waiting for her to say this. Lung Ruoxue and Freak followed Feng Rue and his wife to the Feng family's main residence. Ruoxue, I won't be going in with you, Su Qi said awkwardly. Okay. Lung Ruoxue looked at the guards guarding outside Big Brother Feng's yard, and a trace of understanding flashed in her heart. Chapter 156. The First Elder's Condition 6. She walked to Feng Moran's room, knocked on the door and entered with Freak. Schwer, why are you here? Feng Moran was surprised to see them. Your parents went to the general's mansion this morning, Freak said in a peculiar tone with a very unhappy expression. Schwer, don't listen to them. I really don't want to be the young master, Feng Moran explained anxiously. Big Brother Feng, I know. Am not here to persuade you. Bring me to see the Feng family's first elder. Lung Ruoxue interrupted Feng Moran. Do you really want to see him? Yes. All right. But don't agree to any of the first elder's conditions for my sake, Feng Moran said with a warning look in his eyes. He owed Schwer enough. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Feng Moran brought Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen to the first elder's residence. No one stopped him on the way. All of you wait outside. Only Miss Lung is allowed to enter, the first elder in the house instructed. Schwer. Freak grabbed Lung Ruoxue, who was about to enter the house, and glared at the dirty old geezer in the house with displeasure. Humph, this old pervert actually only wants Schwer to see him alone. Be good and wait for me outside, Lung Ruoxue said as she walked into the house. First elder, what are your conditions? Tell me. Lung Ruoxue said bluntly. Miss Lung, to tell you the truth, our Feng family currently lacks reserve strength, and many of our descendants do not have good aptitude. Moran is the best in our younger generation, so under Moran's lead, our Feng family will definitely become more prosperous, the first elder said earnestly, his face full of anticipation. First elder, if Big Brother Feng wants to be the young master, I will certainly support him. But now he doesn't want to do it himself, and I don't want anyone to force him. Lung Ruoxue told the first elder her thoughts. She hoped that everyone under her protection could live happily. The Feng family is the second great family. How honorable is it to become the young master of the Feng family? How did it become forcing him? The first elder was a little angry as he spoke. If such a thing happened to others, they would be overjoyed, but there was actually someone unwilling. He really couldn't understand. First elder, this might be an honor for others, but it's nothing for people who don't value fame and fortune. What Lung Ruoxue implied was that Feng Moran was someone who didn't value fame and fortune. He will regret it in the future, the first elder roared. It wasn't easy for him to finally favor a junior of the family. That's his own choice, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Since he had chosen, there was no need to regret. After all, everyone had to be responsible for their choices. There was no medicine for regret in the world. Since you call him Big Brother, shouldn't you plan for his future? The first elder questioned with a glare, and released a slight trace of his might. I am planning for his future. Big Brother Feng is a person who yearns for freedom. I can't let him be bound in this mansion and yard to lead a depressed life unless it's his own choice, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently, not at all afraid of the first elder's might. It's fine if he doesn't want to be the young master. I still have the same condition, the first elder said without relenting. First elder, why make things so difficult for Big Brother Feng? You just want to find a young master for the Feng family, Lung Ruoxue said. No one in the Feng family is more suitable than Moran, the first elder said stubbornly, his thoughts remaining unchanged. But Big Brother Feng doesn't want to do it. First elder, your condition is a little too much for Big Brother Feng. How about this? Let's negotiate a deal. Lung Ruoxue looked at the first elder with a face full of mystery. What deal? Unless my Feng family can produce a genius young master, there's no need to negotiate, the first elder said without any room for negotiation. This was already his lowest requirement. He also knew that a divine beast was a little unrealistic. What if I have a way to make the Feng family produce 100 geniuses? Lung Ruoxue threw out big bait. She didn't believe that this cunning old fox wouldn't take the bait. 100? Are you joking? How is that possible? The first elder didn't believe Lung Ruoxue could do it at all. I'm not joking. Nothing is impossible. I just don't know if first elder will agree or not. Lung Ruoxue waited patiently for the first elder's decision. If you can really do it, then I'll agree to it. The first elder said resolutely after thinking for a while and steeling his heart. First elder is a straightforward person, so I won't say anything unnecessary. Lung Ruoxue took out a small jade bottle and handed it to the first elder. What are these? Pills. The first elder opened it to take a look. There were about 100 pearl-like pills inside. These are remolding pills, Lung Ruoxue explained. Remolding pills? Miss Lung, do you think I don't know about pills? Everyone knows that remolding pills are the most useless pill on the Lingfeng continent, and don't have good effects. The first elder said sullenly. First elder, how can you be as short-sighted as ordinary people? Since I said I would give you 100 geniuses, why would I lie to you? Lung Ruoxue said with slight displeasure. She knew very well that when dealing with people who had been in high positions for a long time, it was absolutely impossible to be too weak. Could it be that your remolding pills are different? The first elder asked with a puzzled look. These are true remolding pill. Otherwise, how do you think Big Brother Feng became a genius? Lung Ruoxue explained lightly. You're saying. The first elder quickly stopped talking. His face was full of excitement as he held the jade bottle tightly in his hand. If this was true, then the Feng family. He simply didn't dare to imagine how powerful the Feng family would be in the future. First elder, there are 100 remolding pills inside. But I suggest you choose some descendants with good character to consume them. Otherwise, it will be troublesome if there are too many geniuses. Lung Ruoxue suggested very kindly. Thank you for your reminder, Miss Lung. I will choose wisely, the first elder said gratefully. To be honest, he did intend to choose some with better aptitudes to remold. After all, this was an unwritten rule of every family. But after hearing Lung Ruoxue's reminder, he couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. He couldn't imagine that if he really chose people according to his original plan, it would probably be nothing but a disaster for the Feng family. Chapter 157. A Deal with the First Elder, 1. Then Big Brother Feng. Miss Lung, don't worry. This old man won't force him anymore unless he wants to. The first elder said very naturally. I have another question. Did Miss Lung refine these pills yourself? The first elder probed. What does first elder think? Lung Ruoxue asked with a sweet smile on her face. She believed that the first elder was a smart person and would know what to do. I understand. The first elder said in realization. What a monster. After knowing that Lung Ruoxue was an artificer, he had decided to befriend her. Now he was even more. Miss Lung, our Feng family is willing to become allies with Miss Lung and advance and retreat together in the future. The first elder continued after a pause. Although he had not discussed this with the patriarch, he believed that the patriarch would definitely agree. First elder, you think too highly of me. I don't have any forces, Lung Ruoxue reminded. She didn't expect the identity of an alchemist to be so useful. Even the second great family came knocking on her door to request an alliance. No wonder those alchemists and the like were all so arrogant. Miss Lung is too modest. A few drops of cold sweat dripped down the first elder's forehead. What other forces did she need? As long as she revealed her identity, many powerhouses would knock on her door. First elder, I'm telling the truth. Lung Ruoxue really didn't think she was being humble, because after thinking about it, she truly didn't have any forces other than Feng De and the others. Regardless of whether Miss Lung has any forces or not, our Feng family is willing to ally with Miss Lung, the first elder said very understandingly. Great aunt, this should be enough, right? Since first elder is so enthusiastic, then Ruoxue will accept. But the patriarch and acting patriarch of the Feng family, Lung Ruoxue said in puzzlement. She really wanted to know how much power the first elder had. Miss Lung, don't worry. The patriarch trusts me a lot. He won't object to anything I decide. As for the acting patriarch, he won't be for long, the first elder said confidently. He didn't think much of Feng Xiao to begin with, what more now? First elder, a selfish and sinister person like Feng Xiao will sooner or later be a scourge to the Feng family, Leng Ruoxue said bluntly after seeing that the first elder was reasonable. But what the first elder would do was not something she could control. I know, but he is the eldest son of the patriarch after all. So, even if he wanted to get rid of Feng Xiao, he had to have a good reason. Otherwise, the patriarch might not say anything on the surface, but there would definitely be a barrier in his heart. It would be disadvantageous for the Feng family's development, and not what he wanted to see. It's the Feng family's fortune to have someone like First Elder in the Feng family, Leng Ruoxue praised. This old man really does everything for the Feng family wholeheartedly, and he doesn't even have any selfish motives. Miss Leng truly thinks too highly of me, haha. The First Elder smiled modestly, not minding it at all. First Elder, this is for you. Leng Ruoxue thought for a while, then took out 2 green pills and handed them to the First Elder. This old man was quite to her liking. Moreover, since the 2 families were going to ally, then this old man could also be considered one of them. What is this? The First Elder was a little skeptical as he received the 2 translucent green pills. What rich spiritual energy! Green spirit pills. Leng Ruoxue explained. Green spirit pills. For spirit beasts? The First Elder's eyes widened as he stared at Leng Ruoxue in disbelief. Although humans could also consume green spirit pills, the effects were not as good as spirit beasts consuming them. Moreover, even though green spirit pills were not difficult to concoct, the green spirit fruits used to concoct them were extremely difficult to find. Alas! Now I know why Moran has a divine beast. Leng Ruoxue is truly full of surprises. Seems like my decision was right. Yes, I heard First Elder has a level 9 holy beast. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Hehe, thank you, Miss Leng. On behalf of Sparrow Feather, the First Elder said gratefully. He was even happier than when he advanced to spiritual supremacy. Leng Ruoxue is truly my benefactor. The First Elder couldn't help sighing in his heart. First Elder, remember to find a deserted place to advance, Leng Ruoxue teased. Hehe, this old man knows. He didn't want to make it known to everyone like General Leng. Oh right, First Elder, it's best not to let anyone know about our alliance, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. Okay, I understand. The First Elder said understandingly. It seemed like Leng Ruoxue wanted to keep a low profile. But there were some things that were destined to be impossible to keep a low profile. In fact, he was mistaken. Leng Ruoxue wasn't trying to keep a low profile. She wanted to pretend to be weak to eat tigers. First Elder, I've completed my task. I'll take my leave first, Leng Ruoxue said after looking at the time. It was almost noon, and she was hungry. Miss Leng, it's almost noon. You have to stay for lunch. The First Elder urged her to stay. First Elder, there's no need to be so polite. All the major families are eyeing me covetously now. If I really stay, I'm afraid it will bring trouble to the Feng family, Leng Ruoxue said jokingly. In that case I won't force Miss Leng. I'll see. Before the First Elder could finish, Leng Ruoxue interrupted him. First Elder, I'm here to look for Big Brother Feng. All right then. The First Elder knew that he was being despised and was depressed. You had to know how much face he would be giving her to see her out. But Leng Ruoxue left the First Elder's room and looked at Freak and Feng Moran guarding the door. Big Brother Feng, the matter has been resolved. Freak, let's go back. Okay. Schwer, did you agree to the First Elder's condition? Feng Moran couldn't help asking. Alas, I really didn't want Schwer to worry about me. No, I just made a deal with him, Leng Ruoxue explained simply. What deal? Feng Moran asked quickly. He knew that this had happened. Otherwise, the First Elder wouldn't have relented. It's a simple deal. Big Brother Feng, it's not what you think. Don't worry. Leng Ruoxue comforted him. This deal was indeed not difficult for her. Chapter 158. A deal with the First Elder too. Schwer, don't lie to me, Feng Moran said in disbelief. I'm not lying to you. It's not convenient to talk here. I'll tell you in detail when you go to the General's mansion. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Big brother Feng actually doesn't believe me. Ooh. It makes me so sad. Okay, I'll see you off. He originally wanted to go back today, but he still had some things to settle. After settling the things here, he would immediately go to the general's mansion. Feng Moran saw her off for a long time. And in the end, Lung Ruoxue had to chase him back. Shuer, what deal did you make with the Feng family's first elder? Freak asked curiously after they returned to the general's mansion. 100 remolding pills. Is that all? Well, this wasn't difficult for Shuer. Moreover, he wasn't surprised that the Feng family's first elder agreed. After all, 100 remolding pills would definitely be enough to remold the younger generation of the Feng family. Freak, the Feng family still wants to form an alliance with me. Lung Ruoxue continued and conveniently explained her conversation with the first elder in the house to Freak. The first elder really profited this time, Freak said a little angrily. Freak, he's already an old man, Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. How can he be jealous of an old man? Shuer, the 7th prince is still in the dungeon. Hurry up and get rid of him, or we'll have to raise him and waste the money of our general's mansion. Freak changed the topic and reminded her. The 7th prince was more of an eyesore than a bad old man. Okay, let's go to the dungeon to take a look after lunch. She had locked the 7th prince up for several days and didn't know what he was like now. With this in mind, she couldn't help feeling a little expectant. After lunch, Lung Ruoxue and Freak went to the dungeon where the 7th prince was locked up. Lung Ruoxue looked at the 7th prince in the cell and almost thought she had entered the wrong place. Is this really that noble 7th prince? In the cell, the 7th prince had tattered clothes, disheveled hair that looked like straw, and dust covered his face that was black and blue all over. What's going on? She remembered clearly that she didn't ask anyone to torture him. Did someone sneak into the cell and swap the 7th prince? Thinking of this, Liu, Lung Ruoxue suddenly shouted. Lung Ruoxue, let me out! Let me out! Sitting on the ground, Li Sun suddenly raised his head and yelled at Lung Ruoxue. He didn't want to stay here. He was the noble 7th prince. How could he stay in a cell? It seems to still be the 7th prince, just that his eyes are a little unfocused. His mental endurance must have reached its limit. As expected of a pampered prince, he's already become like this after just a few days. So useless. Lung Ruoxue thought disdainfully. Do you really want to go out? Lung Ruoxue asked coldly. Yes, I want to go out. I want to go out. Liu roared like a madman. You can still live if you stay here. Leave. Do you think you would still be able to live? Lung Ruoxue reminded. She felt that she was too kind to think so much for her enemy. No, I won't die. Imperial father will protect me. And Nair. She is the most favored eldest young lady of the Su family. She won't let others kill me. The 7th prince said as if he was talking to himself. Your father can't even protect himself, so how can he protect you? As for Su Nair, it's impossible for her to care about your life and death, because the Su Nair you miss is already dead. Lung Ruoxue really didn't want to break his beautiful dream. But a dream was a dream, and people always had to face reality. No, you're lying to me. You're lying to me. My imperial father will protect me. And Nair won't die. How can she die? Liu didn't believe Lung Ruoxue at all. Suddenly, his eyes became sharp and fierce. He glared at Lung Ruoxue fiercely and said, It's you. It must be you. What did you do to Nair? You must have caused Nair's death. You vicious woman with a snake's heart, I won't let you go. Liu screamed crazily. His eyes were bloodshot, and the veins on his face bulged. He had entered a peak state of madness. Do you really think your Nair is good? To tell you the truth, she died on Feng Qingren's bed. The cause of her death was excessive indulgence. Lung Ruoxue despised men like Liu who ran away from reality and were unwilling to face reality, so she could only kind-heartedly wake him up. Feng Qingren? No, you're lying to me. Tell me you're lying. Nair isn't that kind of woman. She isn't. Liu wilted. This blow was too great for him. He really couldn't accept the woman he loved dying on another man's bed. She isn't? If she wasn't, then no one is, Yichen said coldly. Li Yu is really a useless man. He was actually fooled by a woman, but he actually treated that slut as a holy goddess. He really deserves to be fooled. She isn't. She isn't. After hearing what Yichen said, Li Yu's head hung down. He didn't react for a while, and just kept repeating this sentence. Freak, let's go. Leng Ruoxue turned her head to look at Freak. She really didn't have the mood to torture Li Yu at all after seeing him in this state of death. She clearly didn't do anything yet, but Li Yu couldn't bear it. Such a person was truly trash. Okay. Don't go. Don't go. Li Yu finally reacted and hurriedly pleaded, but no one bothered with him. Swear, what should we do with Li Yu? Freak asked with a headache after leaving the dungeon. Give him back to Li Yuan. Wouldn't that be letting him off too lightly? Freak said with some dissatisfaction. How can we let him off lightly? Do you think Li Yuan will let him go? His fate will be much worse if he falls into Li Yuan's hands than staying in ours. Leng Ruoxue didn't think Li Yuan would treat him as his younger brother. He would torture him in all sorts of ways. That's true. But swear, you haven't even avenged yourself yet. I'm really unwilling to return him like this. Freak complained. Chapter 159. A deal with the First Elder 3. There's no joy in taking revenge in his current state, Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. But what if he's pretending? Freak really couldn't believe that a noble prince's heart was so fragile. Every person in an imperial family or aristocratic family was devious. People like Li Yu couldn't survive unless they were especially favored and protected. I'm not in the mood. Let Li Yuan try. Leng Ruoxue said gloomily. That's fine, Freak echoed. But just to be safe, he thought it would be better to prescribe some medicine to Li Yu beforehand. Better to act than to be tempted. After dinner, Leng Ruoxue and Freak brought Li Yu straight to the palace. In the imperial study. What does this mean? Li Yuan was sitting on the dragon throne while looking at Leng Ruoxue in confusion. We're here to return the person, Leng Ruoxue explained lightly. There's no need to return him, Li Yuan said generously. He didn't want this person. It won't be difficult to borrow him again, so I'll return him to you first. Leng Ruoxue said very carefully. She wouldn't want this trash even if she could get money for him. After listening to Leng Ruoxue, Li Yuan was at a loss for words. Does she intend to borrow him again in the future? I'm giving this person to you. There's no need to go through all this trouble. Li Yuan really didn't want to take over. Don't. I don't have a place to put him, and I would have to waste my money to support him. Leng Ruoxue's expression showed that there was no room for negotiation. She was definitely going to return him. I'll pay. I don't want him even if I can get money, Leng Ruoxue added, interrupting Li Yuan. Li Yuan was helpless, really helpless. By the way, why did he become like this? Li Yuan asked curiously while looking at the unconscious Li Yu, who had been thrown to the ground like a dead dog. It didn't look like he was tortured. His mental fortitude is a bit weak. I just told him what happened recently. That's all, Leng Ruoxue said innocently. It really isn't my fault. Oh, come, lock him in the dungeon. Li Yuan nodded understandingly, and then ordered the eunuch beside him. Yes, your majesty. Then the eunuch left the imperial study. Since it's done, we'll leave now, Leng Ruoxue said frankly. About Ruoxue, your big sister Emo has been talking about you. Since you're here, go see her. Li Yuan said thoughtfully. Okay, I'll go see big sister Emo then, Leng Ruoxue said respectfully. Did Li Yuan especially tell me this because something happened? Swear, are we going to see Emo Yue? Freak asked softly after they walked out of the imperial study and into the imperial garden. Let's go take a look. Leng Ruoxue knew that everything had been going smoothly since Li Yuan became the emperor. After all, no one dared to object with the approval of the old patriarch. After Emo Yue became the mother of the country, she moved to the Phoenix Algae Palace. Leng Ruoxue and Freak were familiar with the Phoenix Algae Palace and found it without difficulty. Big sister Emo. Leng Ruoxue saw that no one was stopping her after entering the Phoenix Algae Palace, so she walked directly into the inner hall with Freak. Ruoxue, Why do you have time to visit big sister? Mo Inue, who was eating, said happily when she saw Lung Ruoxue. She hurriedly put down her chopsticks, stood up, walked to Lung Ruoxue's side, and pulled her to sit down together. Yi Chun, do whatever you want. Mo Inue said warmly. Okay. Yi Chun casually found a chair and sat down. Sister Mo, we are here to return Li Yu, Lung Ruoxue said honestly. She wouldn't say anything hypocritical such as she came specially to see Mo Inue. I know you only came to see big sister as a slight detour. Mo Inue sighed. This girl wouldn't have come to the palace if there was nothing. But she really liked Lung Ruoxue's character of distinguishing gratitude and grudges. Did anything displeasing happen recently, big sister Mo? Lung Ruoxue went straight to the point. This had to be why Li Yuan asked her to come. A little. Mo Inue said with a troubled expression. Big sister Mo, tell me about it. Recently, some ministers have been having designs on His Majesty. Mo Inue said very implicitly, finding it difficult to say. Just that. Lung Ruoxue was not impressed. She thought it was something big, but it was actually the easiest to solve. This isn't a trivial matter. It concerns the stability of the country. Mo Inue was in a very difficult position. Big sister Mo, does this world venerate the strong? Lung Ruoxue suddenly asked. Of course. Mo Inue was puzzled. What does Ruoxue mean? In that case, why care so much about the words of those ministers? As long as the old patriarch of the imperial family supports you, I don't believe anyone will dare to have any other thoughts. Lung Ruoxue said very firmly. But, big sister Mo, no one is willing to share their husband with other women. At worst, well, destroy whoever steals him. If it doesn't work in the open, you can do it in the dark. You are the mother of a country, and the first wife. Can't you handle a few mistresses? Lung Ruoxue encouraged. She hated women who sacrificed themselves too much, and even lost their dignity for a cheap man. I hope Li Yuan isn't a man who likes the new and hates the old. Otherwise, I will definitely make him regret it. Ruoxue, you don't understand. There are also people in my family who have such thoughts, so Mo Inue really didn't know what to do. If she lost the support of her family because of this matter, then she would definitely be forced to give up the position of empress. She didn't care about being the empress, but she couldn't give up her husband. Who? Lung Ruoxue asked coldly. My cousin, Mo Inue answered honestly. Schwer looks so scary. A woman with designs on her brother-in-law deserves to die. Lung Ruoxue complained in her head. But this was Big Sister Mo's family affair after all, and it was hard for her to say anything as an outsider. Chapter 160. You don't know how to treat a beauty well. 1. I've always thought that Big Sister Mo is a smart person, so I believe you will handle it well, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. It was difficult even for a fair official to settle family affairs. Moreover, she was only an outsider. But she believed that with her support and encouragement, those women who wanted to be mistresses would definitely not be a match for Mo Inue. Yes, I won't let those women succeed, Mo Inue said resolutely. With Ruoxue's encouragement, her fighting spirit immediately soared. She would never let other women snatch her man away. Never. Big sister Mo, it's getting late. Well, get going. All right, I'll see you out. Mo Inue hurriedly stood up. Big sister Mo, you don't have to be so polite, Lung Ruoxue declined. I can't bear little sister Ruoxue leaving, Mo Inue said with a smile, her mood already adjusted. Mo Inue sent Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen out of the Phoenix Algae Palace. She only turned back reluctantly after they disappeared on Quill's back. After returning to the general's mansion, Lung Ruoxue and Freak went to the living room where Fengda and the others were waiting for them. Mississippi. Fengda, how are the preparations for the Prosperity Pavilion coming along? Lung Ruoxue asked as she sat down on the main seat. Miss, we're almost ready. We can open on time in 3 days, Fengda reported. Oh right, have you sent out all the invitations? Lung Ruoxue asked. Yes, and the general will be back tomorrow. Got it. It's getting late. Let's go back to our rooms to rest. We'll be busy in a few days. Lung Ruoxua looked up at everyone in the living room. Okay, everyone answered quickly. Freak, I play to enter seclusion these few days to refine a few defensive sacred artifacts for the Prosperity Pavilion. Don't disturb me if there's nothing important, Lung Ruoxua said to Freak after thinking about it. Okay. He nodded reluctantly. After returning to her room, Lung Ruoxua directly entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Big sister. Qingju appeared in front of her. Qingju. Lung Ruoxua picked up the pink toddler and pinched his tender little cheeks. Big sister, you're taking advantage of me again. Qingju pouted his pink lips in complaint. Of course not. Lung Ruoxua put Qingju down awkwardly. Why does this damn child look so cute for no reason? Which adult doesn't want to pinch such a cute little thing? Girl, it turns out that you are so perverted too, the shiny butterfly said as if it had just found a comrade. Pervert your head, Lung Ruoxua said angrily as she swatted the very tactless butterfly away. Boo. Girl, you are too crude. As a girl, you have to be gentle, or else you won't be able to find a husband. The butterfly that was knocked away flew back again, and advised her earnestly. Get lost. Lung Ruoxua couldn't bear it anymore. What kind of rubbish butterfly is this? Girl. The butterfly looked at the furious Lung Ruoxua with tears in its eyes, not knowing what was going on. It didn't think it did anything wrong. It was telling the truth. Qingju, big sister is going to refine artifacts. I'll leave this damn butterfly to you, Lung Ruoxua said to Qingju, and then walked directly into the purple bamboo house. Okay, Qingju said as he looked at the aggrieved butterfly. In fact, there was nothing he could do with this butterfly. He had locked it up countless times, but he couldn't keep it locked up at all. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but size up the butterfly carefully. Why are you looking at me like that? I'll be shy, the butterfly said coquettishly. Qingju's face darkened. He raised his small hand and directly locked the thick-skinned butterfly into the space cage he set up. But the butterfly flew back in no time. Qingju looked at the palm-sized butterfly dejectedly. Why? How is this possible? Every corner of the Heaven and Earth bracelet was within his control, but he just couldn't do anything to this butterfly. He was an artifact spirit. As the spirit of a divine artifact, his level was countless times higher than this damn butterfly's. But the result was very cruel. He couldn't deny that this butterfly had dealt him a blow. After Lung Ruoxua entered the refining room in the purple bamboo house, she didn't start refining immediately. Instead, she first conceptualized the artifacts she wanted to refine. Besides defensive sacred artifacts, she had to refine a copy of each of the items being used in the general's mansion, which she had refined based on things from her previous life. There were also hot pots. After thinking about it, she realized that she had a lot of things to refine. Lung Ruoxua prepared the materials for various artifacts and equipment, and then focused on refining the things she needed. When Lung Ruoxua finished refining and left the Heaven and Earth bracelet, 2 days had passed outside. Freak, why are you sitting here? Lung Ruoxua opened the door and saw Freak sitting on the stone steps outside her room, looking pitiful. Schwer. He looked up, and his diamond-like bright eyes had 2 streams of tears as he looked at Lung Ruoxua pitifully. What happened? Lung Ruoxua was puzzled. Grandpa came back with a stunningly beautiful man and a bad old man, he explained softly. Then what? Lung Ruoxua didn't understand. Was he bullied? But she didn't believe that anyone could bully him. That bad old man is that beautiful man's master. He said he wants to form closer ties with Grandpa, Freak explained while on the verge of crying. Pfft. Lung Ruoxua couldn't help laughing lightly. So it turns out Freak is jealous again. You're laughing. Even you are bullying me. Freak felt wronged, and tears welled up in his eyes. Of course not. Lung Ruoxua was a little speechless. Why do people keep saying that recently? I am a good child. Schwer, someone is here to snatch you away from me again. Boo. What should I do? Freak looked at Lung Ruoxua helplessly, and kept thinking about when Schwer would truly belong to him. Freak was very anxious. This opponent wasn't easy to deal with. Chapter 161. You don't know how to treat a beauty well, too. Nonsense. Let's go see Grandpa since he's back. Lung Ruoxua looked at the nervous freak. This damn freak is quite cute. Oh, Schwer, don't be tempted by other men. Freak reminded her worriedly. Am I so easily seduced by beauty? Lung Ruoxua glanced at Freak and asked in return. No. If it was true, I would have gotten you in my palms a long time ago. He complained in his heart. Then what are you worried about? Yes, I believe Schwer, Freak said with ease. In fact, he was just pretending to be pitiful. Otherwise, how could Schwer feel pity for him? Lung Ruoxua and Freak went to her grandfather's study. Before entering, they heard happy chatting and endless laughter inside. Grandpa! Lung Ruoxua knocked on the door. Schwer, come in. Lung Qingtian hurriedly said when he heard his precious granddaughter's voice. The two of them pushed the door open and walked in. Lung Ruoxua looked up at the situation in the study and saw 4 people in total. In addition to her grandfather and brother, there were 2 strangers. One of them was about the same age as her grandfather. He had a round face, ordinary facial features, and a round body. He wasn't tall, and his aura was restrained. He was a spiritual supremacy. The other person was about 20 years old. He had a handsome appearance, starry eyes like the moon, and a noble and extraordinary temperament. His strength was not low either, and he was an advanced spiritual sovereign. They must be the master and disciple that Freak mentioned. No wonder he treats him as a love rival. This young man is good in appearance, temperament, and strength. The master and disciple pair were also looking at Lung Ruoxua while Lung Ruoxua was looking at the two of them. Schwer, let Grandpa introduce you. This old man is an old friend of Grandpa. You can call him Grandpa you. This is Old Yes disciple, Dongfang Yun, Lung Qingtian introduced simply. Old you nephew Dongfang, she is my granddaughter, Lung Ruoxua, Lung Qingtian continued, his face full of pride. Old Lung, your granddaughter is indeed as the rumors say. She's just right for my disciple. Old Yu said with a satisfied expression. Master. Dongfang Yun glared at his master in embarrassment, and then turned to Lung Ruoxua. I'm sorry, Miss Lung. My master likes to joke. Dongfang Yun said in a very gentlemanly manner. It's really too embarrassing for master to say that, he grumbled in his heart. It's okay. I understand. Lung Ruoxua said coldly as she glanced at the chubby old man who looked like a ball. This old man obviously did it on purpose. But she didn't know why he did it. It's good that Miss Lung doesn't blame me. Dongfang Yun said good-naturedly, not bothered by Lung Ruoxua's indifference. In fact, if she was like other women, sticking to him like a fly the moment she saw him, he wouldn't have bothered responding to her at all. Grandpa, our prosperity pavilion is opening tomorrow, Lung Ruoxua reminded. Schwer, Grandpa specially rushed back for this. I hope Schwer isn't angry that I brought back 2 burdens with me. Lung Qingtian thought fearfully. Grandpa, Schwer will be heading out first. Please continue your chat. Lung Ruoxua couldn't help finding her grandfather's careful demeanor amusing. She then grabbed Freak and left without throwing a temper tantrum. Old Lung, why is your granddaughter so shy? Old Yu asked in disappointment. He still wanted that girl to cultivate a good relationship with his good disciple. Do you think everyone is as thick-skinned as you? I told you not to spout nonsense. My granddaughter already has a fiancé, but you still dared to say that. Lung Qingtian glared at his old friend with some dissatisfaction. I just want your precious granddaughter to have another choice. Anyway, they're not married yet. Anything is possible. Old Yu said with a shameless grin, as if it was obvious. Lung Qingtian shook his head helplessly. He really couldn't do anything to this old impish friend. Look at you. Your lips are so pouty you could hang oil bottles on them. Lung Ruoxua couldn't help teasing Freak as they walked in the garden outside Lung Qingshan's study. Schwer, did you see Dongfang Yin? He asked softly. I did. So what? Lung Ruoxua asked helplessly. Isn't he thinking too much? Now, her greatest wish was to become stronger, so how could she have the time to think about other things? If she really wanted to find a man, she would have pounced on Freak long ago. You're not allowed to like him. You're only allowed to like me, he said domineeringly. I don't like him, okay? Lung Ruoxua replied speechlessly. You can only like me. Freak reminded her with great dissatisfaction. Oh, Schwer is really not serious. She actually replied to me in such a manner. I'm so sad. Damn Freak, if you keep nagging, I won't even want you anymore, Lung Ruoxue threatened. I won't mention it anymore. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxue fearfully and aggrievedly like a little wife. Good. Come with me to the Feng family residence now. Why are we going there? Feng Moran had already come to the general's mansion to stay, but rumor had it that he was chased out by the Feng family. Form an official alliance with the first elder, Lung Ruoxue explained. Oh. After the two of them arrived at the Feng family's main residence, the Feng family's first elder directly led them to the Feng family's secret chamber. After entering the secret chamber, the first elder officially became allies with Lung Ruoxue on behalf of the Feng family. They promised not to betray each other with heaven and earth as the witness. Otherwise, they would be obliterated by heaven and earth laws. After forming the alliance, Lung Ruoxue and Freak returned to the general's mansion. In the living room of the general's mansion, Feng Da here. Everything you need for the restaurant is inside. Lung Ruoxue handed Feng Da a storage ring. I'll go and set it up now. Feng Da took the ring and left in a hurry. Freak, let's go sit in the garden, Lung Ruoxue said to the depressed Freak after seeing that everything was arranged. Chapter 162. You don't know how to treat a beauty well 3. Okay. The two of them arrived at the pavilion in the garden. Before they could get comfortable, Lung Ruhan brought Dong Fangyin over. Schwer, you're here too, Lung Ruhan said helplessly. It was too much of a coincidence. He knew that Yichen didn't like Dong Fangyin, so he wanted the two of them to stay away from each other. But he didn't expect to run into them here. Didn't Schwer leave the mansion? Why is she back so soon? Big brother, since you're here, let's sit together, Lung Ruoxue said while lying in Freak's arms. Okay. Lung Ruhan brought Dong Fangyin to sit down. Miss Lung, let's spar sometime. Dong Fangyin looked at Lung Ruoxue expectantly. If young Master Dong Fang wants to find someone to spar with, I can recommend someone to you. The two of you are of similar strength, Lung Ruoxue suggested. Miss Lung, are you looking down on my strength? Dong Fangyin smiled. Lung Ruoxue sized Dong Fangyin up and said without giving him any face, You're not my match. How do you know if you don't try? Dong Fangyin said with some displeasure. Being looked down on by a woman like this slightly hurt his pride. Then I'll give you a chance. Seeing that he was unwilling to give up, Lung Ruoxue could only agree. Let's go to the training grounds, Lung Ruoxue said and led him to the training grounds in the general's mansion. Schwer, you're not allowed to go easy on him, Freak reminded Lung Ruoxue softly when they arrived at the training ground. Don't worry. I will never go easy on arrogant men, Lung Ruoxue said seriously. For example, when had she ever gone easy on Huqing? Okay. Do your best. You must beat him up until his teeth are all over the ground, Freak said very mischievously. He's the disciple of Grandpa's friend. It wouldn't be good to beat him up too badly. Let's save him some face. Lung Ruoxue said very kindly. Okay then. Schwer, good luck. When Lung Ruoxue and Dong Fangyin arrived at the training grounds, the entire Blazing Flame mercenary group gathered around. Miss, you can do it. The mercenaries of the Blazing Flame mercenary group cheered for their goddess excitedly. It seems like you have a lot of supporters, Dong Fangyin said with some envy. These people were all very hot-blooded. They are all mercenaries of my mercenary group, so of course they support me, Lung Ruoxue explained. Let's begin. After you. Dong Fangyin said gracefully. Do all men have to be like this? Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes speechlessly. You will end up very miserable if you look down on women. Take this. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. Lung Ruoxue shouted, and released a stream of fire attribute spiritual power without hesitation. Her opponent was an advanced spiritual sovereign, so she used a heavenly spiritual skill directly. Dong Fangyin looked at the beautiful feather flying toward him, and didn't dare to lower his guard in the slightest. He had long heard of Lung Ruoxue's strength, so he became extremely alert in this battle with her. Seeing the feather approaching him, Dongfang Yun hurriedly set up a curtain wall. This curtain wall was composed of water attribute spiritual power, and water could counter fire. After Lung Ruoxia's fire attribute spiritual power encountered his water attribute spiritual power, it would meet its nemesis. But would it turn out like what he thought? When Lung Ruoxia's feather pierced through his water curtain and headed straight for him, Dongfang Yun was stunned. It only lasted for a few seconds, but when he recovered, the feather was already in front of him and was staring at him. Dongfang Yun was a little depressed by this situation. He didn't want to admit it, but he knew that he had lost. But what did this little guy mean? Why didn't it attack? Did Lung Ruoxia's spiritual power have to be so spiritual? It was as though it was waiting for something. In fact, he was right. The little feather was waiting for its master to give the order. As long as its master gave the order, it would burn the man's clothes to ashes. But Lung Ruoxia would never know what was going through her spiritual power's mind. If she knew, she would never give such an order. But, as Dongfang Yun screamed, everyone saw his body start to light up. After a short while, his clothes were burned to ashes, revealing his perfect figure. After burning his clothes, the flames disappeared. Dongfang Yun also fainted. Everyone present watched this magical scene in disbelief. Then they looked at Lung Ruoxia in shock. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Lung Ruoxia shouted angrily. "What do those glances mean?" She was so mad. "Swear, you really don't know how to be protective of the fairer sex," Lung Ruhan complained. But he was overjoyed in his heart. Swear is really formidable. Flame specialized in burning men's clothes. Fortunately, Lung Ruoxia couldn't hear her brother's thoughts. Otherwise, she would be depressed to death. "Swear, his figure isn't as good as mine," Freak said with dissatisfaction while looking at Lung Ruoxia resentfully. Wait. What does this have to do with figures?" Cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxia's forehead. "Heavens! Do they think I did it on purpose? If you want to look, just look at mine. Don't burn other men's clothes." Freak whispered with raging jealousy. Heavens! Lung Ruoxia was speechless. She felt so wronged. Could she say that she didn't intend to burn Dongfang Yun's clothes? Could she say that it was just an accident? She just wanted to teach the proud Dongfang Yun a little lesson. But she didn't know why things became like this. "Swear, let's go too," Freak said to Swear when he saw Lung Ruhan ordering people to carry Dongfang Yun away. "Let's go." Lung Ruoxia was helpless. She didn't know how she could clear her name. Boo-hoo, how did this happen? Chapter 163. You don't know how to treat a beauty well for. After leaving the training grounds, Lung Ruoxia returned to her room depressed. Freak volunteered to visit Dongfang Yun. "Swear." Lung Qingtian called out from outside his granddaughter's door. "Grandpa, come in." "The door isn't locked," Lung Ruoxia said softly. "Swear, if you want to spar, so be it. But why did you burn his clothes?" Lung Qingtian looked at his precious granddaughter speechlessly. "Great, someone is hanging on to her now." "Grandpa, it was an accident. I didn't do it on purpose." Lung Ruoxia was puzzled. She didn't know why her spiritual power suddenly became disobedient. "Of course, Grandpa knows that you didn't do it on purpose." But Lung Qingtian felt awkward and hesitated. "But what? Grandpa, is Dongfang Yun all right?" Lung Ruoxia asked. She had only used 30% of her spiritual power, and it would at most cause him some superficial wounds. It wouldn't be fatal, so Dongfang Yun should have fainted from fright. "He's fine. But old you is relentless and insists that you should be responsible." Lung Qingtian smiled bitterly. "What should I be responsible for?" Lung Ruoxia asked in puzzlement. She knew her limits when she attacked. "Old you said that you saw his disciple's naked body, so you have to take responsibility." Lung Qingshan's lips twitched helplessly. He also felt that this reason was too far-fetched. What was wrong with seeing a man naked? "Grandpa, I'm not interested in Dongfang Yun," Lung Ruoxia said bluntly. Moreover, she was afraid that Freak would know about this matter. So it was better to make things clear as soon as possible. "Of course Grandpa knows that. But old you is very difficult to deal with, and he won't give up easily once he's made up his mind," Lung Qingtian reminded. "In fact, He didn't think that Dongfang Yun was suitable for his precious granddaughter. He felt that his grandson-in-law should be someone as well-behaved and obedient as Yi Chen who wouldn't bully Shuer. It's not so easy to hang on to me. Leng Ruoxue smiled spuriously. Anyone who dared to have any ideas about her would regret it. Shuer, old Yu is grandpa's friend after all. You have to show mercy. Leng Qingtian reminded her, which was also a way of asking for forgiveness for his old friend. Don't worry, Grandpa. I will definitely be merciful. Leng Ruoxue comforted. That's good. By the way, Shuer, about the Imperial Palace. Leng Qingtian asked curiously. Grandpa, the current emperor is Li Yuan. Li Sun has abdicated. Leng Ruoxue explained simply. What about Li Yu? Li Yuan locked him up. Shuer, does this have anything to do with you? A little. I just cooperated. I'm a good citizen after all. Shuer, the old patriarch of the imperial family isn't easy to deal with. Leng Qingtian couldn't help reminding. Yes, I've met that old man. Did he make things difficult for you? Leng Qingtian asked anxiously. He knew his granddaughter's strength, but as a grandfather, he couldn't help but worry. No. That's good. Shuer, Grandpa is leaving, Leng Qingtian said after understanding the situation. Okay. Leng Ruoxue sent her grandfather out of the listening snow pavilion. Shuer. Hearing Freak's voice, Leng Ruoxue turned around. He was standing not far away and looking at her. Don't be scared. It's okay. Leng Ruoxue walked forward and caressed his head to calm him. Yeah. Freak nodded obediently. He believed that Shuer would never like that proud peacock. Beauty traps were useless against Shuer, and this was his experience speaking. Sleep early tonight. We are the hosts tomorrow, Leng Ruoxue reminded. Got it. After she comforted him, the two went to their respective rooms to sleep. The next day was the opening day of the Prosperity Pavilion. As the hosts, Leng Ruoxue and the others naturally arrived at the Prosperity Pavilion early. At the entrance of the restaurant, Leng Ruoxue directly ignored Dongfang Yun's resentful gaze and said to the two elders, Grandpa, you let's go in and take a look. Okay. But Ruoxue, my apprentice. Grandpa, you, guests are coming soon. Let's go in first. Leng Ruoxue interrupted and reminded him. All right. Old Yu gave her face. Lass, you can't pretend to be stupid. After Leng Ruoxue and the others entered the shop and took a tour of the entire Prosperity Pavilion under Feng Da's lead, almost everyone had an amazed expression on their faces, because this place was really beyond their expectations. In addition to the exquisite and grand interior furnishings, many things were unheard of. Miss, how was it? Feng Da looked at Leng Ruoxue nervously. Everything here was designed by the young lady and completed under his supervision, so he was afraid that she would be dissatisfied. Not bad. I'm very satisfied. Miss, the Empress has arrived. Lin Yuan, who was preparing to receive guests outside, entered and reported. Invite big sister Mo in directly. Leng Ruoxue ordered. Ruoxue, this place is so beautiful. Mo Inua exclaimed as soon as she entered the store. It's good that big sister Mo likes it. Yes, of course I do. Mo Inua said sincerely. This place felt even more comfortable than the Imperial Palace. It was really unbelievable. In my opinion, this place is only SOSO. A discordant voice sounded in everyone's ears. For a moment, everyone's eyes were attracted by the owner of the voice. She was a very beautiful young girl of 15 or 16 years old. Even though she wasn't as drop-dead gorgeous as Leng Ruoxue, she gave off a sweet and lovable feeling. She should have been a very likable young girl. But why did her words sound so offensive? Everyone was puzzled. Leng Ruoxue sneered as she looked at the girl who spoke. How dare a great spiritualist spout nonsense on this occasion? Does she think this place is her home? Chapter 164. Conspiracies all around 1. Mingyue, what are you saying? Shut up. Mo Inua looked at Leng Ruoxue apologetically with an awkward expression. This self-righteous cousin of hers was really spoiled. Before coming, she had actually warned Mo Mingyue not to spout nonsense, but Mo Mingyue obviously didn't take her words to heart. Big sister Mo, is this your maidservant? How rude. Lung Ruoxue said lightly with a gentle smile. How dare you? I'm the most favored second young lady of the Mo family. How dare you call me a maidservant? Mo Mingyue roared furiously. In the Mo family, she was more favored than the current empress. If it wasn't because the patriarch, her grandfather, had felt that the crown prince's ascension was hopeless, how could Mo Mingyue have become the empress? In her eyes, Mo Mingyue was merely the daughter of a concubine, so she didn't take Mo Mingyue seriously at all. Ruoxue. She's my cousin Mo Mingyue. Mo Mingyue explained helplessly. So what if you are the second young lady of the Mo family? With your status, you don't even have the qualifications to be my maidservant. Lung Ruoxue mocked lightly. The Mo family was far inferior to the 5 great families and imperial families. She didn't even care about such top forces, but the daughter of a second-rate family actually dared to be so unbridled in front of her. How dare you say that about me? The emperor won't let you go. Mo Mingyue roared, her eyes blazing with jealousy and hatred. Big sister Mo, let's go in and have a seat. Lung Ruoxue looked at Mo Mingyue like she was an idiot, and ignored her anger. Okay. Mo Mingyue followed Lung Ruoxue into the lounge. I'm sorry, Honorable Second Miss Mo. My young lady didn't invite you. You can't go in. Fonda said expressionlessly while blocking the door of the lounge. Mo Mingyue, who was about to follow them in, saw someone stopping her and said furiously, Why can't I go in? Why could Mo Mingyue enter but not her? This made her proud heart extremely unbalanced. She could go wherever she wanted in the imperial palace, and no one dared to stop her. Don't you understand the human language? I told you, our young lady didn't invite you. Fonda said impatiently. Why are all these noble ladies so brainless? Fine. Who cares about entering? This isn't a good place anyway. It's incomparable to the imperial palace. With this in mind, Mo Mingyue walked away angrily. In the lounge. Big sister Mo, don't you have anything to say to me? Lung Ruoxue said lightly, a little unhappy in her heart. I'm sorry, Ruoxue. I shouldn't have brought her here. Mo Mingyue said, a little embarrassed. Recently, Mo Mingyue had been staying in the palace. No matter where she went, Mo Mingyue would follow her, making her very annoyed. Big sister Mo, haven't you thought of a solution yet? Lung Ruoxue asked. If not for Big sister Mo, she would have asked someone to throw that eyesore out just now. Ruoxue, I've let you down. Big sister Mo, you didn't let me down. You let yourself down. I don't like women who compromise, Lung Ruoxue said bluntly. If you wanted to deal with your enemies, it was impossible not to be cruel. Giving in would only make your enemies want a yard after taking an inch. But she knew that Mo Mingyue had too many concerns and couldn't be as carefree as her. Ruoxue, I will find a way to get rid of her as soon as possible. Mo Mingyue said resolutely. Big sister Mo, being the mother of a country isn't easy. If you don't want to be restrained by your family, you have to become stronger. You have to have your own power. Otherwise, you will only become a pawn of your family and always be used by them. Lung Ruoxue knew that Mo Mingyue was different from her. The education she received since childhood was to serve the family, unlike hers. Besides, Lung Ruoxue's family didn't have many people. But even if she had a large family, the family wasn't important to her. She only cared about the people worthy of her attention. Ruoxue, I don't want to become a pawn of my family and be used by them. Mo Mingyue said resolutely. Then become stronger. Make everyone look up to you. Lung Ruoxue encouraged. Okay, I will definitely become stronger. I won't let my family restrict me anymore. This time, Mo Mingyue had really made up her mind. It was not only to protect her man, but also for her own freedom. Okay, big sister Mo, let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded with satisfaction. She liked women with backbone. When Lung Ruoxue and Mo Mingyue returned to the main hall of the restaurant, almost all the guests had arrived. Junior aunt. 2 surprising voices appeared behind Lung Ruoxue. She turned around and saw 2 middle-aged men standing not far away with smiles on their faces. The expression on their faces could only be described as flattering. These 2 fellows. When Lung Ruoxue saw them, several black lines hung on her forehead. Why did they come? She was puzzled. The two middle-aged men walked to Lung Ruoxue and said excitedly, "Junior aunt, long time no see. We missed you so much." Those who knew their identities were so surprised that their jaws almost fell to the ground when they heard how they addressed Lung Ruoxue. Oh my God! Did we hear right? The president and vice president of the Artificer Association headquarters actually addressed Lung Ruoxue as junior aunt. What's going on? Is this a dream? It hasn't been that long, okay? Lung Ruoxue was speechless. By the way, we've only met once. Why are you acting so friendly? Ruoxue, who are they? Mo Inue asked curiously. They can be considered disciple nephews I've recognized. Lung Ruoxue explained. She didn't know their names. Junior aunt. The two middle-aged men actually had a tacit understanding upon hearing Lung Ruoxue's unwilling tone. They looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly, as if she had abandoned them. They were going all out. Their master had reminded them repeatedly to stick to Lung Ruoxue. No matter what when they came. This mission could only succeed and not fail. Chapter 165. Conspiracies all around too. Seeing their expressions, Lung Ruoxue was really confused. She would have found it a little cute if it was Freak making such expressions. But no one would be able to stand two middle-aged men with strong facial features and burly statures pretending to be pitiful. Ruoxue they. Mo Inue felt her hair stand on end. She really didn't know what to say. Hello Empress Mo. I am Guoyong, and he's Guochang. We are brothers. The man who claimed to be Guoyong introduced. Guoyong, Guochang. Aren't they the president and vice president of the Artificer Association headquarters? Mo Inue was surprised. Are they really those two? Or do they just have the same names? Rumor had it that Guoyong and Guochang were the only two supreme artificers on the Lingfeng continent. Their master, the founder of the Artificer Association, had disappeared for many years. And many people even speculated that their master was no longer around. Therefore, she really couldn't understand why they addressed Ruoxue as junior aunt. Hello. Mo Inue turned to look at Lung Ruoxue, her eyes full of question marks. But the words "don't ask me" were written all over Lung Ruoxue's face. In fact, Lung Ruoxue had only just learned the names of these two people. She didn't even have an impression of their names, so it was naturally impossible for her to know that these two middle-aged men who called her junior aunt were the famous big bosses of the Artificer Association. However, the others present were not as calm as Lung Ruoxue, especially those who didn't know their identities just now. They almost fainted from excitement when they heard the names of the two people. They were their idols. It was unknown who started it, but in the blink of an eye, Guoyong and Guochang were surrounded. Mo Inue pulled Lung Ruoxue to the side and asked softly, "Ruoxue, do you know their identities?" "No." Lung Ruoxue answered honestly. "They should be the president and vice president of the Artificer Association." Mo Inue said helplessly, "I was right. Ruoxue really doesn't know." "Oh," Lung Ruoxue answered lightly. "Ruoxue, isn't your reaction a little too calm?" Mo Inue was a little speechless. "Ruoxue, can you not be so calm? Otherwise?" Lung Ruoxue asked. "Pretend I didn't say anything." Mo Inue felt a little helpless. "Am I too inexperienced? Big sister Mo, find a place to sit for a while. I'll take a look over there." Lung Ruoxue's sharp eyes saw her grandfather calling her. "Okay, go ahead. Don't worry about me." She had to find Mingyue so that she wouldn't cause any trouble. Lung Ruoxue walked to her grandfather and asked softly, "Grandpa, you called me?" "Swear, those two people have very high statuses," Lung Qingtian reminded. He didn't expect them to be. "Grandpa, don't they call me junior aunt?" "You don't have to worry," Lung Ruoxue comforted. Since they took the initiative to come to her door, they must have some ulterior motive. But they had to pay the price if they wanted to use her. "Okay." Lung Qingtian nodded. He felt very relieved about his granddaughter. "Miss, it's time." Fengde walked over. "Please take the guests to their seats," Lung Ruoxue ordered. The first day of business was the grand opening celebration of the Prosperity Pavilion, so it wasn't open to the public today, and the guests invited were all from prominent families. After Feng De led the guests to their seats, Leng Qingtian thanked them as a general and directly ordered the dishes to be served. When everyone saw the dishes that they had never seen before and smelled the enticing fragrance, they all felt that their saliva was about to flow out. What is everyone looking at? I won't take your money today. Don't be scared. Just eat. Leng Qingtian joked happily. Who's afraid? Lin Liang didn't stand on ceremony as he took the lead to pick up a piece of alluring red meat and put it in his mouth. The meat melted as soon as it entered his mouth, and its fragrance overflowed, almost causing him to bite off his tongue. Old Leng, who made this dish? Lin Liang asked while eating. Didn't I tell you? Leng Qingtian rolled his eyes at Lin Liang. It's really them? Amazing. TCH, look at who trained them. Leng Qingtian said proudly. Look at how proud you are, Lin Liang said angrily. Wasn't this old man just relying on his good granddaughter? What was there to be so arrogant about? What kind of food is this? It's so unpalatable. She wants to open a restaurant with this standard. Emo Mingyue harumphed in disdain. She just wanted to cause trouble. She didn't believe that Leng Ruoxue would dare to do anything to her. Mingyue, shut up. Emo Mingyue growled unhappily. She really didn't understand why Mingyue had to find trouble with Ruoxue. Ruoxue didn't provoke her. Unfortunately, Emo Mingyue's voice was too loud, and it attracted everyone's attention. Miss Emo, you might not know this, but Miss Leng opened this restaurant mainly because she was refused entry by the Spring Wind House. Shui Xinran said with a face full of mockery and a sweet smile full of schadenfreude. I see. I knew it. Why would a noble young lady open a restaurant for no reason? Emo Mingyue was even more pleased with herself when she saw someone supporting her. Xinran. Hua Qing suddenly called out expressionlessly. Big brother Qing. Shui Xinran immediately changed from being sharp and unkind to being lovable and cute. Her face changed so quickly that people were dumbfounded. You don't have to appear in front of me again, Hua Qing said coldly. Big brother Qing. Shui Xinran was shocked, and tears instantly fell like rain. She never dreamed that Big Brother Qing would actually humiliate her so much and say such heartless words in public for Leng Ruoxue. After hearing Hua Qing's words, everyone's eyes turned to Shui Xinran. The prideful Shui Xinran felt extremely embarrassed. With a swoosh, she stood up and ran away. Ruoxue, I'm sorry, Hua Qing said awkwardly. Chapter 166. Conspiracies all around 3. You don't have to apologize, Leng Ruoxue replied coldly. She was not like the prideful Shui Xinran, and other people's comments wouldn't affect her. Fengde, throw the second young lady of the Mo family out. From now on, the Mo family will never be my friend. Leng Ruoxue said to Fengde and everyone present at the same time. Yes, Mississippi. After receiving his young lattice order, Fengde would definitely do his best to carry it out. Big sister Mo, the Mo family is the Mo family and you are you. Leng Ruoxue glanced at Mo Ingyue and comforted her. Okay. Mo Ingyue nodded. She knew that part of what Ruoxue said was to support her, so she was very touched. Everyone, don't be affected by an eyesore or two. Please continue. Leng Ruoxue said to everyone. Yes, that's right. Everyone echoed very generously. Old Leng, your granddaughter really distinguishes between love and hate. She can't tolerate dirt in her eyes. Lin Liang sighed with emotion. Young people are really bold. The Mo family's future probably won't be pleasant. Of course. Anyone who dares to bully my grandson and granddaughter is going against me, Leng Qingtian. Such people are the enemy of our Leng family. Leng Qingtian said as a matter of course. And also my enemy. Old Yu sitting next to Leng Qingtian added. Fine, they're my enemy too. Lin Liang didn't want to fall behind. Moreover, Old Leng's grandson was his disciple. Upon hearing this, everyone was flabbergasted. How can you be so protective? Although there were some unhappy hiccups during the meal, it was generally very satisfactory, and also achieved Leng Ruoxue's goal of treating people to free food. She believed that the reputation of the Prosperity Pavilion was already incomparably resounding in the hearts of these families. The first day of business ended after all the guests finished their meals contentedly and left. After sending off all the guests, Lung Ruoxue and the others returned to the general's mansion. In the living room of the general's mansion, "Junior aunt, we want to stay here for a while," Guiyong said shamelessly. In other words, he wanted her to arrange a place for them to stay. "Can't the Artificer Association accommodate people?" Lung Ruoxue asked with a few drops of cold sweat on her forehead. "Are they planning to stay in my house just like that? How can it be more comfortable than living at home? You are our junior aunt. Can you bear to see your cute disciple nephews live in the Artificer Association?" Guochang said with a wronged expression on his face that was full of bitterness. "Fengde, go arrange a room for them." Lung Ruoxue admitted defeat. These two people's ages added together were almost 100 years old. What else could she say if they could say such coquettish words? "Yes, Mississippi." Fengde then led Guiyong and Guochang out of the living room. "Swear, looks like they're sticking to you." Freak smiled sympathetically when they were alone in the living room. "Yeah." Lung Ruoxue nodded helplessly. Everyone could see that even without him saying it. "You're not jealous?" Lung Ruoxue continued as if she had discovered a new world. "Tch, what's the point of being jealous of two old men?" Freak said indifferently. If they wanted to make him jealous, they had to be at Dongfengyun's level. "Oh, I thought you were jealous of everyone," Lung Ruoxue teased. "But what are you planning by sticking together with Dongfengyun today?" Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. She was surprised that Freak didn't stick to her today, but stayed together with Dongfengyun. "I want to know him well." Freak smiled evilly. He had been watching Dongfengyun closely all day, so that Dongfengyun wouldn't have a chance to get close to his Shuer. But he had paid a rather large price because he hadn't been able to stick to Shuer for the entire day. "Ooh, I seem to have suffered some losses." "Shuer." Freak suddenly hugged Lung Ruoxue tightly. "I have to make up for today's loss." "Freak, let go of me. You're hugging me too tightly." Lung Ruoxue shouted. "Oh, then I'll be gentler." He still didn't intend to let go. "Freak, how long do you plan to hug me?" Lung Ruoxue asked speechlessly after a long while. "For life," Freak said affectionately, his eyes shining like stars. "Freak, I'm tired from standing," Lung Ruoxue said, slightly dampening the mood. She would probably fall asleep soon. "Oh, you're not tired anymore, are you?" Freak carried Lung Ruoxue up. "I am really too smart. Yes, I'm not tired. But I'm sleepy and want to sleep," Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. "Freak is getting better at pretending to be stupid." "Oh, we'll take you back to your room then." Freak was very understanding and ran straight to the listening snow pavilion with Lung Ruoxue in his arms. "Shuer, go to sleep." Upon reaching her room, he directly put her on the bed. But he also conveniently sat down beside her bed. "Freak, you can go back to your room to sleep now," Lung Ruoxue said directly while looking at him, who had no intention of leaving. "Hurry up and sleep. Don't bother about me," Freak urged. Seeing how stubbornly he refused to leave, Lung Ruoxue closed her eyes and ignored him. Freak leaned against her bed and stared at her without blinking. As he listened to her even breathing, his heart was churning like the sea. When will Shuer realize how important I am? The next day, when Lung Ruoxue woke up, she found Freak sleeping next to her bed. "Freak is really..." She shook her head helplessly and gently adjusted him into a more comfortable position. She then covered him with the blanket and quietly got off the bed. After freshening up, she left the room. Several days later, "Miss, business in our restaurant has been very good these few days," Fengde said to Lung Ruoxue excitedly in the garden. Chapter 167. Conspiracies all around for. "Oh." Lung Ruoxue nodded. She had expected that business would be good. After all, many of the dishes in the Prosperity Pavilion belonged to her previous world. And afterward, she changed the ingredients to match the ones in this world. "Fengde, go out for the training experience in a few days," Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. "Yes, Mississippi." At the same time, a secret gathering of the 5 great families was taking place in the Su family's main residence in the Western Light Empire. In the main hall of the Su family residence. "Su Qian, why did you call us all here?" Hui, the patriarch of the Hua family, said with a displeased face. Why can't we send letters? Must we say it in person? That's right. Acting Patriarch Su, we are all here. Say whatever you have to say. Feng Miao, the representative of the Feng family, was also very displeased. He originally didn't want to come, but the first elder sent him. He was really annoyed. Su Qian, our time is very precious. We don't have time to waste with you, Yi Ming said anxiously. He said he wanted to wait for everyone to arrive before talking, but he still didn't say anything now that everyone was here. Is Su Qian messing with us? Why are you so anxious? Learn from Brother Shui. See how composed he is, Su Qian, who was sitting in the main seat, said with a gloomy and eccentric sneer. I'm anxious too. Just say it. Shuizhen retorted without giving him any face. Don't think that I don't know that you just want to sit back and watch the tigers fight. We won't be fooled. Since you're so anxious, let me say it. Su Qian continued after a pause. How do you intend to deal with Leng Ruoxue? Why should we deal with Leng Ruoxue? Hua Yi's handsome face was full of question marks. That's right. Leng Ruoxue doesn't have any enmity with our Feng family. Why should we deal with her? Feng Miao was also very puzzled. Su Qian, Leng Ruoxue is the future daughter-in-law of the Yi family. Yi Ming looked at Su Qian with a hint of warning. Yes, that's right. Leng Ruoxue and I don't have any enmity. She's also a junior, Shuizhen agreed, but his mind was racing. It's obviously this old thing who wants to deal with Leng Ruoxue, but he's asking us. Leng Ruoxue is about to threaten the status of our 5 great families. Are we going to continue to ignore this? Su Qian said ruthlessly, his eyes releasing intense killing intent. Acting Patriarch Su, aren't you exaggerating a little too much? Let's not talk about whether Leng Ruoxue is ambitious or not. There are only a few people in the Leng family. They're not a threat to us at all. Feng Miao said disapprovingly. Brother Feng's words are very reasonable. Su Qian, you're too far-fetched, Hua Yi echoed. Su Qian obviously wants to get rid of Leng Ruoxue, but he still wants to use us as cannon fodder. Fat chance. Su Qian, although Leng Ruoxue's Prosperity Pavilion might have robbed a lot of your Su family's customers, you don't need to get rid of Leng Ruoxue just because of this. Do you think Leng Qingtian is just for show? Yi Ming said with some schadenfreude. Su Qian clearly wants to drag us into this, because he's afraid of Leng Qingtian. They're right, Su Qian. How can we be so petty as top families? The Spring Wind House only earns a fraction of what your Su family earns. Why do you care so much? Shuizhen also disagreed. You all. Su Qian was so angry that he was at a loss for words. Although the 5 great families might look harmonious on the surface, everyone was sitting here because they couldn't wait to see others make a fool of themselves. Su Qian, only harmony can lead to wealth. Hua Yi advised earnestly. Do you think I'm doing this for a mere restaurant? Su Qian roared furiously. They're definitely doing it on purpose. Isn't it? I didn't hear Leng Ruoxue stealing anything else from you. Feng Miao said in puzzlement. I'm doing it because of the spots to enter the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm. Su Qian couldn't take it anymore. I've asked around. Leng Ruoxue said she didn't have any more spots, Yi Ming explained. At first, he didn't believe that Leng Ruoxue would simply give away the Mystic Realm spots. But after asking around, he found out that she had indeed given them away, so he gave up. Su Qian widened his eyes and questioned. Do you know how many spots she has? How many can she have? The Heavenly Phoenix Academy can't possibly give her all the spots, right? Yi Ming said nonchalantly. 10. She has 10 spots. Su Qian said loudly. Is what you said true? Yi Ming confirmed in disbelief. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy had obtained less than 20 ownerless spots, but Leng Ruoxue herself had 10. Was this possible? Of course it's true. Someone from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy told me personally. The news is absolutely accurate, Su Qian said confidently, his face full of pride. Damn it! Leng Ruoxue actually dared to lie to me. Yi Ming was so angry. In fact, when he went to the Leng family residence previously, he said that he had heard Leng Ruoxue had spots in her hands, but he was just testing her. His original intention was to use the relationship between the Lung family and Lin Liang to get a few spots from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy. Who knew that things would end badly? Unexpectedly, Lung Ruoxue really had more, and had even given them away. Su Qian, even if Lung Ruoxue really has spots for the mystic realm, what can we do? She has several spiritual supremacies on her side. And also divine beasts. Our ancestors are all in seclusion. No one can defeat Lung Qingtian even if we add up all of us, Shuizhen said weakly. Of course he wanted the spots for the mystic realm. But he would have to snatch them. That's why we have to join forces, Su Qian said anxiously. He was determined to obtain the spots. After hearing Su Qian's words, the other 4 people present became silent. Then how do you want us to join forces? Hui asked after some thought. In fact, the Hua family was not lacking in spots to enter the mystic realm, so he really didn't care about the few in Lung Ruoxue's hands. However, Chapter 168. The Best Defense is Offense 1. Acting Patriarch Su, the spots for the mystic realm might be tempting, but if we join forces, are you sure we will get them? What if Lung Ruoxue has already given all of them away? Wouldn't we have worked for nothing then? Feng Miao said worriedly. That's right. Lung Ruoxue isn't as concerned about the mystic realm spots as we are, Yi Ming said angrily. At this point he was furious. Lung Ruoxue would rather give such important spots to her servants than to the Yi family. I won't let her go. Relax, I can guarantee that Lung Ruoxue definitely still has spots in her hand, Su Qian said confidently. Su Qian, if we join forces, how are we going to split the mystic realm spots? This was Shuizhen's most pressing concern. The Shui family didn't have a single mystic realm spot, so he was just as anxious as Su Qian. Of course we'll split them equally, Su Qian said without hesitation. So, have you decided yet? Su Qian asked again, his vicious and sharp gaze fixed on the other 4 people sitting here. I can't decide on this matter. Feng Miao smiled gently. He was just an idler in the Feng family. How could he decide on such a big matter? What about you? Su Qian's gaze turned to the other 3 people. Of course, he knew that Feng Miao couldn't decide, so he didn't take him seriously. This is a serious matter. I need to go back and discuss it with the elders before making the final decision, Hui said after some thought. Among the 5 great families, the Yi and Feng families both had spots for the mystic realm. Therefore, Hui knew that their 3 families were definitely not in a hurry. After all, everything depended on opportunities after entering the mystic realm. Sometimes having more spots was useless, and you might not necessarily have more opportunities than others. I can't decide now either, Yi Ming said. He also wanted to go back and discuss with the elders of the family. After all, the Lung family. Brother Shui, what about you? Su Qian placed his last hope on Shuizhen, and looked at him expectantly. Alas, he didn't dare to count on those people. I have to go back and discuss it too, Shuizhen said helplessly. In that case, all of you go back and discuss it then. Send me a letter when you're done. Su Qian said helplessly. All right, we'll take our leave first, Hua Yi and the others said. In the imperial garden of the imperial palace of the Eastern Lagoon Empire, hundreds of flowers were in full bloom in the imperial garden, and their fragrance was delightful. Mo Ingyue was lying comfortably on a recliner, and basking in the sun with flowers surrounding her. She was in an extremely good mood. Your Majesty, the imperial father-in-law requests an audience, a maidservant reported softly. Didn't you tell him that I'm resting? Mo Ingyue frowned in displeasure. After Mo Mingyue had offended Roshue on the opening day of the Prosperity Pavilion, she had been grounded by the patriarch of the Mo family. Moreover, she knew very well that the Mo family had not been having a good time recently. Many families who usually had close ties with them basically didn't dare to keep close to the Mo family anymore. Therefore, her days were much better. Yes, but the imperial father-in-law, the maidservant stammered, not knowing how to answer. Where is he now? Mo Ingyue asked indifferently. At the Phoenix Algae Palace. Then let's go back to the palace. Mo Ingyue stood up from the recliner, adjusted her clothes, and slowly walked toward the Phoenix Algae Palace. Back in the Phoenix Algae Palace, Missouri Inoue saw her weak father sitting in a chair obediently, and sitting beside him was an old man with a serious expression. Grandfather is here too? Emo Inoue said somewhat mockingly. This grandfather of hers would never visit unless he needed something. It seemed like he was really forced into a corner this time. Yes. Patriarch Emo raised his eyes slightly as a form of greeting. Inoue, Dad and Grandfather came to see you this time for a very important matter. Emo Changhai said helplessly. He originally didn't want to come, but his father forced him to. Oh, I wonder what it is. Emo Inoue pretended to be confused, but her eyes kept darting to Emo Changhai. Alas, if only Dad could be tougher, he wouldn't have been suppressed by Uncle all these years. What a pity. Emo Changhai didn't know how to start. Patriarch Emo glared at his useless eldest son and then said straightforwardly, I heard that you have a good relationship with Lung Ruoxue? Just average. Why? Emo Yingye's beautiful face was full of puzzlement. Last time, Mingyue offended Lung Ruoxue. We wanted to go to the Lung family to apologize, but we were always turned away, so... Patriarch Emo stared at Emo Inoue. He had made it clear enough. Grandfather, Lung Ruoxue and I are acquainted and have had several dealings. But Lung Ruoxue's temper is very bad, so it's useless even if I try to reason with her. She won't give me face at all. Emo Inoue said with some embarrassment, her face full of helplessness. This is obviously your excuse. Don't think that your position as the Empress is stable. If our Emo family collapses, it won't do you any good. Patriarch Emo said threateningly, his face livid with anger. Grandfather, even if the Emo family doesn't collapse, will my position as the Empress be secure? Emo Inoue asked softly with a smile on her beautiful face. What do you mean by this? Are you talking back to me? Patriarch Emo roared furiously. Fine, this little sheep thinks that her wings have hardened now that she has someone supporting her. How dare she not take me, her grandfather, seriously? How dare I talk back to grandfather? I'm just telling the truth. Emo Inoue said indifferently, her face abnormally calm. I'm just asking you. Are you going to take care of this matter or not? Patriarch Emo roared directly. The veins on his forehead bulged out, and his face darkened. It's not that I don't care. It's that I can't do anything. Emo Inoue said nonchalantly. Now that he needs me for something. He looks for me? Inoue. Emo Changhai opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but he didn't say it in the end. Dad, everyone in Phoenix City knows the temper of the Lung family. Are they so easy to provoke? Mingyue was spoiled by you all, so there's nothing I can do. Emo Inoue said coldly with an expressionless face. Chapter 169. The best defense is offense too. Come, escort the imperial father-in-law and Patriarch Emo out of the palace, Emo Inoue ordered softly. A young eunuch stepped forward and said politely, Yes, imperial father-in-law, Patriarch Emo, this way please. Emo Inoue, you will regret it. Patriarch Emo snorted coldly and walked away without looking back. He didn't believe that an empress without the support of her family could last long. How can I have a useless son like you? You can't even control your own daughter. Patriarch Emo kept reprimanding his eldest son as they left the palace. I'm sorry, father. Emo Changhai lowered his head and stopped talking. What could he say? One was his father, and the other was his daughter. Alas! It was all his fault. Imperial father-in-law, Patriarch Emo, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here. A surprised voice sounded in their ears. Oh, it's Prime Minister Fu. Haha, what a coincidence. Patriarch Emo greeted with a smile, revealing a happy expression. Hello, Prime Minister Fu, Emo Changhai said politely. Haha, are you here to see the Empress? Prime Minister Fu asked even though he knew. Yes, I had something to discuss with the Empress, Patriarch Emo said indifferently, his expression unreadable. Is it related to the Lung family? Prime Minister Fu asked with concern. Yes. Patriarch Emo nodded helplessly. This was no longer a secret in Phoenix City. The Mo family had almost no place left in Phoenix City because of Lung Ruoxia's words. Alas! The Lung family has always been overbearing, but they've really gone a little overboard this time. Your Mo family is related by marriage to the imperial family, so how can the Lung family be so unreasonable? It's not a big deal. It's just a conflict between children. Why implicate the family? Prime Minister Fu said with indignation, as if it was his family that had been squeezed out by others. The expression on his face was sincere. That's right. I also know that the Lung family isn't to be trifled with, but I didn't expect the Lung family to have so much power. Now, almost no family dares to have any dealings with our Mo family anymore. Patriarch Mo had a worried look on his face. At this moment, he had already regarded Prime Minister Fu as a bosom friend, and was venting his bitterness. It's all because the Artificer Association is supporting her. You know those fence-sitters wouldn't dare to offend the people of the Artificer Association. Prime Minister Fu's face was full of sympathy, but in the depths of his heart, he was so jealous that he was about to go crazy. How can the Lung family have such good luck? The people of the Artificer Association actually treat them so favorably. Alas! Is our Mo family really going to decline? Patriarch Mo was very unwilling. Their Mo family was about to rise up. How could they perish just like this? In fact, that's not necessarily so. As long as your Mo family can find a powerful backer, the Lung family won't be able to do anything to you. Prime Minister Fu suggested. Backer? How can we find a backer in a situation like this? Moreover, I don't have the means to do so. Patriarch Mo said somewhat gloomily. Their Mo family might be ranked among the top families in the Eastern Lagoon Empire, but it was far from being comparable to the 5 great families and imperial families. For example, take the Feng family, one of the 5 great families in the Eastern Lagoon Empire. If he wanted to visit the Feng family, he wouldn't be able to meet the patriarch at all. It would already be considered very good if he had an elder to receive him. I have a way, but I don't know if you will be interested. Prime Minister Fu said with uncertainty, a deep scheming look flashing in his eyes. Minister Fu, please tell me about it, Patriarch Mo said anxiously. He wouldn't give up as long as there was a glimmer of hope now. It's not convenient to talk here. Come with me. Prime Minister Fu looked around cautiously. Okay, Changhai, go back first. I have something to discuss with Prime Minister Fu. Patriarch Mo ordered his eldest son. Yes, father. Mo Changhai looked at Prime Minister Fu and then obediently left. Then Patriarch Mo and Prime Minister Fu left the palace together. General Lung's mansion, listening snow pavilion. Miss, Huang Fulian and Huqing are here. Lu Tao knocked on Lung Ruoxia's door and reported softly. Got it, Lung Ruoxia answered from her room. Schwer, we're not done playing yet. Freak, who was playing Go with Lung Ruoxia, said with some dissatisfaction. Visitors are guests. Well, continue later. Or you and Dongfang Yinshan can play first. I want to take a look. Lung Ruoxia coaxed helplessly. I don't want to play with him. Freak and Dongfang Yin, who had been watching by the side, shouted in unison. Both of their faces had a look of disdain. Then come with me to meet the guests. Lung Ruoxia glanced at the two of them, and then directly left the room. Schwer, wait for me. Freak hurriedly followed. I'm coming too. Dongfang Yin was unwilling to be left behind and chased after them. Lung Ruoxia's group of 3 arrived at the living room, and saw her grandfather greeting Huang Fulian and Huqing. Grandpa! Lung Ruoxia greeted her grandfather, and then turned to look at Huqing and Huang Fulian. Why are the two of you together? Lung Ruoxia asked curiously. Do they have a good relationship now? Huang Fulian said he wanted to see you, so I came along, Huqing explained. He hadn't dared to come to the Lung family residence since that day, and he only came today because of Huang Fulian. Otherwise, he was afraid that Ruoxia wouldn't let him in if he came alone. Oh. Lung Ruoxia's gaze turned to Huang Fulian. This gentle and handsome young crown prince shouldn't just be here to see her, right? I brought you some specialties from the Southern Dusk Empire. My mother asked me to bring them to you. Huang Fulian explained honestly. He didn't even dare to look Lung Ruoxia in the eye, and his cheeks were slightly red. Looking at this shy crown prince, Lung Qingtian couldn't help but sigh. A man like this wouldn't be able to pursue his granddaughter. It seemed that the thoughts of the Southern Dusk's empress were wasted. Please thank the empress for her kind intentions on my behalf, Crown Prince, Lung Ruoxua said politely. Okay. Huang Fulian nodded and then fell silent. Chapter 170. The Best Defense is Offense 3. Dong Fengyan, didn't you want to find someone to spar with? You can spar with Huqing, Lung Ruoxua suddenly said after looking at Huqing. Dong Fengyan felt lightheaded whenever he heard the word spar. The experience of the previous spar had really left a deep impression on him, and he couldn't forget it no matter what. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but look resentfully at the culprit who had harmed him. He wouldn't dare to find someone casually to spar with anymore. Ooh, how embarrassing. Brother Dongfeng wants to spar with me? Okay. Huqing said, full of fighting spirit. He had always wanted to find an opportunity to compete with Dong Fengyan after getting to know him on the opening day of the Prosperity Pavilion. No, I'm not in the mood to spar now, Dong Fengyan said weakly with an awkward expression on his face. Oh, then come find me at any time when you're in the mood. Huqing didn't insist. Dong Fengyan couldn't run anyway, and they would have plenty of opportunities to spar in the future. The group chatted for a while, and then had dinner before seeing the two off. After Lung Ruoxua saw the two off, she returned to the listening snow pavilion with Freak. Schwer, why did the Empress of Southern Dusk bring you specialties? Freak asked in puzzlement while looking at the package on the table. If they want to pursue Schwer, they should bring some valuable things, right? I don't know. Lung Ruoxua also felt that it was a little strange. She had only met the Empress once, even though the Empress said that she was friends with her mother. Lung Ruoxua opened the package. There were indeed some specialties from the Southern Dusk Empire inside, but there was nothing special about them. Schwer, what is this? A small bamboo tube suddenly appeared in Freak's hand. The bamboo tube was thinner than a baby's pinky and about 5 centimeters long. Where did you get it? Lung Ruoxua asked as she took the bamboo tube from his hand. Found it here, Freak explained while pointing to a string of red fruits. Lung Ruoxua looked at the strings of red fruits, and then picked up the small bamboo tube to compare the two. The bamboo tube was very similar to the stems of the red fruits, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference if you didn't look carefully. Lung Ruoxua opened the bamboo tube, and there was a thin letter inside. She took it out, and the more she read, the more serious her expression became. Schwer, what's the matter? Freak asked in confusion. See for yourself. Lung Ruoxua didn't explain and directly handed the letter to him. Freak took the letter doubtfully and looked at it. He couldn't help being a little surprised. The Southern Dusk Empire wants to form an alliance with us? This should be a good thing, but let's go see Grandpa. Okay. When they arrived at Lung Qingshan's study, Lung Ruoxua took out the letter and showed it to her grandfather. Schwer, what do you intend to do? Lung Qingtian couldn't help asking. The Su family was really up to no good. They even contacted the imperial families. I want to hear Grandpa's opinion, Lung Ruoxua said calmly. It wasn't difficult to deal with the Su family with her current strength, but she wasn't that confident if the Su family had too many allies. The Su family is looking for allies, but want we? Since the Southern Dusk Empire's imperial family is so sincere, we have no reason to decline, Lung Qingtian analyzed after thinking about it. He had long hated the Su family to the core. He absolutely couldn't let them off easily now that the hateful Su family was eyeing his granddaughter again. Yes. Lung Ruoxua nodded. She had the same idea. Perhaps it was time for her to meet the old patriarch of the Eastern Lagoon Empire. The old man had something to say last time. Late at night, in a side palace of the Eastern Lagoon Empire's imperial palace, a huge black eagle directly descended here. Lung Ruoxua and Freak jumped down from Quill's back and casually sized up the remote palace. It was a very desolate palace, and the decorations here were old. Only a flower bed was full of life, and the flowers inside flourished in the darkness. Come in. An old voice sounded in the cold night, and the palace became bright. Lung Ruoxue and Freak pushed open the palace door and walked in. Have a seat, little girl. The old man in green said lightly. Thank you. Lung Ruoxue and Freak found a random seat and sat down. But the three of them didn't speak, and instead looked at each other. Little girl, why do you always like to come to other people's houses in the middle of the night? The old man teased after a while, his slightly turbid eyes carrying a teasing look. It's late at night, and everyone is asleep, so it's more convenient to do bad things. Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly as her forehead dripped with cold sweat. She was not a shy little rabbit, and she wouldn't care about what others thought as long as she wanted to do something. The old man was speechless. Lung Ruoxue's skin was thicker than he imagined. Little girl, tell me, why are you looking for me? The old man continued. Didn't you have something to tell me? Lung Ruoxue asked in return. No one wanted to reveal their purpose first. This little fox. Why are the people in the Lung family so difficult to deal with? The old man complained in his head. Little girl, I know some things that should be very useful to you. Seeing that the little fox didn't take the bait, the old man had to throw out the bait first. The Su family. The old man only said 3 words and stopped talking. He just stared at Lung Ruoxue with his turbid eyes. Hee, the Su family is ambitious, and am not the only one they want to deal with. Lung Ruoxue said knowingly. She had been paying attention to the Su family's every move since she received some news. Little girl, tell me what you want to do. I'll do my best to cooperate. The old man sighed helplessly. The Su family was indeed a big problem in the Eastern Lagoon Empire. We can become temporary allies, Lung Ruoxue suggested. Why temporary? The old man asked in puzzlement. After this matter is over, we will go our separate ways. Lung Ruoxue explained. She didn't want to be too deeply involved with the imperial family. Lung Ruoxue, do you dislike the imperial family so much? The old man asked in realization. Although General Lung was a pillar of the country, the Lung family didn't like to have any relationship with the imperial family. He really couldn't understand why. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.